The divine sword is invincible. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251. I have good vision. The sword in Liu Ping's hand also trembled and almost stabbed Hunan below. Hunan looked at the deacon, who reported to him with an unbelievable face. What did you just say? Sect Master Yang Shen has been comprehending the sword path today and has now comprehended the 17th sword monument. The deacon was so excited that he was at a loss. The 17th sword monument. This time, Hunan finally confirmed that what he just heard was true. He didn't hear it wrong because of the Mandarin duck and butterfly sword just now. Sect Master. The deacon saw that Hunan was still in a daze and couldn't help stamping his feet anxiously. Sect Master Yang Shen is almost at the end of the sword path. If he doesn't hurry up, it will be too late. The end of the sword path. Hunan was shocked and suddenly looked up to the sky and roared, "Everyone, go to the sword path for me." Before he finished speaking, he rushed out of the hall and rushed towards the sword path frantically. Boom. I saw that a large piece of the mountain that had just been repaired in front was blasted out. Hearing the huge noise, the disciples of the True Dragon Divine Sect rushed out one after another, and they were all stunned when they saw the piece of the mountain that was blasted away. Is the sect master drunk again? I've said that the sect master doesn't drink. Is that the sect master's True Dragon Divine Art? Has it gone wrong again? What did the sect master say just now? Go to the Sword Road. All the disciples of the True Dragon Divine Sect looked at the Sword Road. At this moment, suddenly, at the end of the Sword Road, the light of the 18th Sword Monument appeared. When the light of the 18th Sword Monument appeared, the 18 Sword Monuments simultaneously spurted out terrifying sword light. The sword energy of the entire Sword Road seemed to be boiling. Layer after layer of sword energy roared up into the sky. At this moment, all the disciples of the True Dragon Divine Sect saw the gushing terrifying sword light. An elder of the True Dragon Divine Sect was horrified. Who has reached the end of the Sword Road? Who is it? Quick, go to the Sword Road. The elders of the True Dragon Divine Sect shouted to their disciples. The first one soared into the sky and rushed to the Sword Road without caring about his life. At this time, they finally understood that their sect master was not drunk or had a misfire. Finally understood why their leader asked everyone to go to the sword path. The supreme elders of the True Dragon God Sect rushed to the sword path frantically. Deng Hanqing and Long Heo, who were practicing in seclusion, were also startled by the sword energy that shone through the sky. Who is at the end of the sword path? Deng Hanqing excitedly grabbed a disciple next to him. The disciple looked at the age spots on Deng Hanqing's face from a close distance and was very scared. Li Zhenqing, who was practicing in the cave in the forbidden area, was also startled by the sword energy and rushed out of the cave. When he saw the sword path filled with sword energy for 9 days, he was stunned and excitedly howled to the sky, crying and laughing. Finally, a disciple of my True Dragon God Sect has walked the sword path to the end. And he himself, like a wolf, rushed to the sword path. In the depths of the forbidden area, a dragon roar shook the sky, and the huge figure of the Tyrannosaurus Rex reappeared, and almost arrived at the sword path before and after Li Zhenqing. Ancestor. Seeing Li Zhenqing coming, all the True Dragon God Sect disciples at the scene knelt down. Li Zhenqing looked at the end of the sword path excitedly. Who is at the end of the sword path? It's the Son of God. A core disciple stepped forward and said excitedly, "Son of God." Li Zhenqing laughed heartily. "Good. I have good vision. Zyroshan is worthy of being my good baby." Many disciples almost fell over. Li Zhenqing touched the few whiskers on his chin and continued to laugh. Zyroshan has been in the True Dragon Sect for less than 2 years, and he has walked the sword path in 2 years. Monster. Super monster. At this time, the core disciple stepped forward and said, "Ancestor, the Son of God only started to comprehend the sword path today. Only started to comprehend today." Li Zhenqing was choked. Even the Tyrannosaurus Rex lost its center of gravity and almost fell from a high altitude. The disciples below were frightened. If the dragon ancestor fell from a high altitude, the huge dragon body might crush several people to death. At this time, Hunan, Liuping, Long Heo, and Deng Hanking also arrived one after another. Long Heo and Deng Hanking looked as pale as dead salted fish. On the way, they already knew who was standing at the end of the sword path. Because of this, the two people who were originally very excited were no longer excited at all. They seemed to be poured with a basin of salted fish water. Zyroshan has reached the end of the sword path, and you, the sect leader, have just come here. What are you doing? Li Zhenqing, who had just been choked, asked when he saw Hunan coming at this time. Hunan had no words to say. He couldn't say that he was just practicing the Mandarin duck and butterfly sword with his wife. The Mandarin duck and butterfly sword is also known as the sword of flirting. Ancestor, it was Zyroshan who broke through the sword path too fast. In less than a quarter of an hour, he had comprehended from the first sword monument to the 17th sword monument. Hunan smiled bitterly. I have rushed here at the fastest speed, but halfway through, Zyroshan has already comprehended the 18th sword monument. In less than a quarter of an hour, Li Zhenqing was choked again. In the sky, the Tyrannosaurus Rex lost its balance and was about to fall again. Even Hunan and Long Heo were so scared that they squatted. Just now, Li Zhenqing was so nervous when he learned that Yang Zyroshan had just started to comprehend the sword path today. Now that he knew that Yang Zyroshan had just started to comprehend the sword path a quarter of an hour ago, his heart was no longer pounding, but like a tiger. Just before everyone from the True Dragon sect gathered at the sword path, Yang Zyroshan stood at the end of the sword path, with 18 sword monuments condensed behind him, and his whole body was full of sword energy. In front of him was a vast sea of swords. A sea of swords formed entirely by sword energy. The sea of swords seemed to have no end. Occasionally, at the bottom of the sea of swords, sword spirits would jump out like fish. There were big and small sword spirits. Yang Zyroshan was shocked when he saw the vast sea of swords in front of him. But the strange thing was that such a large sea of swords could not be seen outside the sword path at all. This sea of swords seemed to exist in another space. Yang Zyroshan tried to walk into the sea of swords. Under the power of the 18 sword monuments, the sword energy of the sea of swords did not attack Yang Zyroshan. Seeing this, Yang Zyroshan boldly walked into the depths of the sea of swords. At the same time, he used the sword control technique passed down by Yao Ding to collect the sword spirits in the sea of swords. With Yang Zyroshan's efforts, he finally collected the 4 sword spirits in the sea of swords. However, after collecting the sword spirits, he did not leave, but looked at the end of the sea of swords. The end of the sword road is the sea of swords. So what about the end of the sea of swords? He really wanted to know what would be at the end of the sea of swords, so he continued to move forward into the depths of the sea of swords. The sea of swords was larger than he had imagined. After walking for a long time, he still could not see the end. One day later, a huge palace appeared in his sight. This palace was natural, with an indescribable mystery of heaven and earth, and divine brilliance was everywhere. Seeing this palace filled with divine brilliance, Yang Zyroshan's heart speeded up. Although he didn't know what was in the palace, this palace alone was a supreme treasure. Soon, he arrived at the palace. The palace gate was open. After making sure there was no danger, he walked in. The palace was full of golden divine light. When he walked in, the divine light suddenly condensed into a golden god. Chapter 252 Lord of the Kang God. This golden god was 100 feet tall, with overwhelming divine power, filling the entire sea of swords. He looked at Yang Zyroshan with joy. After 1,000,000 years, a divine golden elixir finally came here. Yang Zyroshan was shocked. 1,000,000 years. Could it be that the sword path had already existed 1,000,000 years ago? From what he said, only a divine golden elixir could reach the end of the sword path. No wonder no one in the True Dragon Divine Sect has been able to comprehend all the sword tablets for so many years. But who is this person? Did he leave the sword path? Yes, I left the sword path. The golden god seemed to see what Yang Zyroshan was thinking, and smiled. As for my identity, people in your continent call me Kang Shen. Kang Shen. Yang Zyroshan was extremely shocked. The person in front of him was actually Kang Shen. Lord Kang Shen, the master of their Kang Shen continent. He was also the only existence in Kangshen continent that surpassed the gods in a million years. A million years ago, Lord Kangshen unified the continent with his invincible power, and the continent was called Kangshen continent since then. You are Lord Kangshen? Yang Xiaoshan said in shock. The golden god nodded and smiled. Yes, to be exact, I'm the divine consciousness left by Lord Kangshen. Divine consciousness. Legend has it that, after surpassing the gods, the divine consciousness can be separated, and remain between heaven and earth for a long time. Unexpectedly, the divine consciousness left by Lord Kangshen millions of years ago has not dissipated until now. Child, do you know why I left this sword path? Lord Kangshen said. Yang Xiaoshan vaguely guessed the reason. Lord Kangshen said again, I left the heart of Lord Kangshen in the Kangshen continent. The power of the 18 sword monuments of the sword path is the key to unlock the secrets of the heart of Lord Kangshen. Heart of Lord Kangshen? Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. The heart of Lord Kangshen has almost condensed the power of my life. Lord Kangshen's voice was a little slow. I hope you can inherit my life's power in the future. When the time comes, continue to protect the Kangshen continent. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked. It's just that you are too weak now and cannot inherit my Kangshen's power. Kangshen said, to inherit my Kangshen's power, 5 conditions are required. The first is a divine golden elixir, and the second is to have a million-year soul ring. A million-year soul ring? Yang Xiaoshan was sweating wildly. As far as he knew, the soul ring of the true dragon sect's leader Hunan was only 90,000 years old, and even the soul ring of Wupeng, the strongest ancestor of the Tarshan sect, was only more than 90,000 years old. In the Shenlong Empire, no one soul ring can reach 100,000 years. Not to mention a 200,000 year soul ring. As for a million-year soul ring, it is simply ridiculous and unreal. Lord Kangshen, is a 900,000 year soul ring not okay? Yang Xiaoshan asked hesitantly. Kangshen shook his head and said with certainty, no. Yang Xiaoshan was depressed. At this moment, suddenly, the entire palace shook violently. The divine thoughts left by Kangshen also became illusory. Seeing that Kangshen's divine consciousness was about to dissipate, Yang Xiaoshan asked anxiously, Lord Kangshen, what are the other 3 conditions? The other 3 conditions are to have 14 of the strongest sword hearts. Kangshen said intermittently. 14 of the strongest sword hearts. Yang Xiaoshan sweated. 10 of the strongest sword hearts are already hard to find in the ages, and it takes 14 of the strongest sword hearts to merge with the heart of Kangshen. At this moment, there were 10 million horses trampling through Yang Xiaoshan's heart. He didn't know what to do with the million-year soul ring, and he still needed 14 of the strongest sword hearts. But, what about the other 2 conditions? Just when Yang Xiaoshan was about to ask the last 2 conditions, Kangshen's divine consciousness had become extremely illusory, and the entire palace was shaking violently. Before the other party said the last 2 conditions, the divine consciousness completely dissipated. The entire palace supported by the divine consciousness also collapsed. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the dissipated Kangshen's divine consciousness and the palace, and stood there for a long time. He didn't even know the last 2 conditions, so what should he do? Moreover, Kangshen only told him that the power of the 18 sword tablets was the key to unlocking the secret of Kangshen's heart, but he didn't tell him where the secret of Kangshen's heart was. He didn't even know where the secret of Kangshen's heart was, so where would he go to open it? Yang Xiaoshan felt like digging the ground. In the end, Yang Xiaoshan didn't dig the ground, because there was no ground to dig around. When Yang Xiaoshan came out of the sword road, he saw that there were already a sea of people in front of the sword road, and almost all the disciples of the true dragon god sect had arrived. Seeing Yang Xiaoshan coming out of the sword road, Li Zhenqing, who was eagerly waiting, waved his hands happily and shouted, Xiaoshan baby. Everyone fell to the ground. Yang Xiaoshan looked at Li Zhenqing, who was so happy that he couldn't speak, and quickly stepped forward, clasped his fists and said, Ancestor. Li Zhenqing smiled with a serious face. Xiaoshan, from now on, you can just call me Grandpa Li, or you can just call me Uncle Li. Uncle Li. Hunan's forehead was black, so wouldn't he be younger than Yang Xiaoshan? At this time, Li Zhenqing said to Hunan, Long Hao and others, okay, you all go back. Zyroshin wants to go to my cave and sit down. We too want to chat about family matters. After that, he took Yang Zyroshin's hand affectionately and then flew to his own forbidden cave, as if he was afraid that someone would take Zyroshin away. Zyroshin, is it tiring to comprehend the sword stealing? Lee Zenking said, I will cook you some dragon mushroom soup later. You have to nourish yourself well. You can't work so hard next time. What if you get tired? You are growing up now. Listening to Lee Zenking's constant voice, Hunan and others didn't know what to say for a while. Yang Zyroshin only spent a quarter of an hour comprehending the sword stealing, so he was not tired at all. Those disciples who have been comprehending on the sword path for hundreds of years are tired. Hunan knew that the dragon mushroom was what Lee Zenking fought for with his life. Lee Zenking took Yang Zyroshin to his cave and really took out the dragon mushroom and cooked it. Then the two of them drank a bowl of soup each. Yang Zyroshin drank 7 bowls of wine, which made him feel hot, and he had to pee. It was not until it was completely dark that Yang Zyroshin was able to get away and return to Tangshan Peak. When he was going back, Lee Zenking said to Yang Zyroshin, one day I will find another dragon ZHI, and we can continue drinking. Thinking of drinking 7 bowls again, Yang Zyroshin almost couldn't hold back his urge to pee. Back at Tangshan Peak, Yang Linger, Yang Chao, Huangying and others surrounded Yang Zyroshin happily. It was not until late at night that everyone dispersed. Yang Zyroshin returned to his yard, summoned the Ice Flame Kirin and the Sky Blue Thunder Python, and asked the two beasts about Kang Shen. However, Kang Shen was a figure from a million years ago, too far away, and the two beasts didn't know much about him. Afterwards, Yang Zyroshin told the two beasts that he wanted to condense a million-year soul ring. The two beasts were stunned. A million years. Bingayan Kilin shook his head and smiled bitterly. Sir, there are probably no million-year-old soul beasts in the soul beast forest. Even if there are, Leo Meng and I can't beat them together. They can crush us to death 100 times with just one finger. A million-year-old soul beast, such an existence is already beyond the existence of gods. Even if there are no soul beasts, it's not much different. Chapter 253, Innate Secret Realm. Finally, Yang Zyroshin could only ask Yaoding. Yaoding heard it and said, let me kill a million-year soul beast. Not impossible. I need 100 mouthfuls of 9-layer tribulation thunder water. 9-layer tribulation thunder water. 100 mouthfuls. Hearing Yaoding's lion-like mouthful, Yang Zyroshin felt like strangling him to death. Uncle Ding, where do you want me to find so much 9-layer tribulation thunder water? Yang Zyroshin asked unwillingly. How about 10 mouthfuls? Yaoding shook his head and said, my old man's divine essence is seriously damaged. 10 mouthfuls of 9-layer tribulation thunder water can't kill it at all. After a pause, he said, if I kill 10 mouthfuls, I can only kill a million-year soul beast half to death. Kill half to death. Yang Zyroshin was speechless. What did he want a half-dead million-year soul beast for? It was useless. If he couldn't kill the million-year soul beast, his martial soul would not be able to absorb the soul of the opponent's soul beast, and he would not be able to condense a million-year soul ring. Knowing that he must have 100 mouthfuls of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water, Yang Zyroshin could only ask the barefoot old demon, Shian Zengai and others to inquire. However, to condense a million-year soul ring, the martial soul must be the Supreme King. At this time, Yaoding said, although your martial soul is a level 14 Supreme Martial Soul, it has not yet evolved to the Supreme King. Therefore, before that, it must evolve to the Supreme King. Yang Zyroshin was stunned. He didn't expect that he needed the Supreme King Martial Soul. Without the Supreme King Martial Soul, your martial soul simply cannot absorb the soul of a million-year soul beast. Yaoding said, then, it will be blown up instead. The end of the martial soul being blown up can be foreseen. At that time, without the martial soul, Yang Zyroshin will be a useless person. Yang Zyroshin felt cold in his heart. Then according to Master Ding's estimation, if I practice normally like this, how long will it take for my martial soul to evolve to the Supreme King Martial Soul? Yang Zyroshin asked. If you practice normally, it will take at least 100 years to evolve to the Supreme King Martial Soul. Yaoding said. When Yang Zyroshin heard this, his heart sank. 100 years. When he evolves to the Supreme King Martial Soul in 100 years, it will be too late. Before, he thought that his Martial Soul would evolve to the Supreme King Martial Soul very quickly. Now he knows that he was wrong. The Supreme King Martial Soul is rare in the world. If it is so easy to evolve to the Supreme King Martial Soul, it will not be the Supreme King. Yaoding said, however, if you swallow the triple heavenly tribulation thunder water every day to practice, the time of evolution can be greatly shortened. Hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan was excited. Master Ding, do you mean that the heavenly tribulation thunder water can speed up the evolution of the martial soul? Yes. Yaoding said, if you have the continuous support of the triple heavenly tribulation thunder water, you can evolve to the Supreme King in about 10 years. 10 years. Yang Xiaoshan frowned. 10 years is still too long for him. At his current practice speed, at most 8 or 9 months, he can break through the realm of the Martial Emperor. After breaking through the Martial Emperor, he can condense the Soul Ring. He can't wait until 10 years later to condense the Soul Ring. If it is the 6th level of Heavenly Tribulation Thunder Water, then the speed of your Martial Soul evolution can be accelerated. Yaoding said, for the 6th level, it will take about 2 or 3 years. If it is the 7th level of Heavenly Tribulation Thunder Water, perhaps it can evolve to the Supreme King within a year. 7th level of Heavenly Tribulation Thunder Water. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan asked Yaoding some more things to pay attention to in the evolution of martial souls. The night was cold. Yang Xiaoshan stood in the yard, thinking about the Kangshen heart. Although he didn't know the last 2 conditions, what he had to do now was to condense a 1,000,000-year soul ring, and secondly, to cultivate 14 of the strongest sword hearts. After calming down, he sat cross-legged on the cold jade bed, and began to refine the 4 innate sword spirits of the Sword Sea. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was refining the Sword Sea sword spirit, the news that Yang Xiaoshan had walked the sword path was also heard by everyone in the Tatian sect. What? Walked the sword path of the True Dragon sect in one day? Wu Peng was shocked when he heard the news. Yes, to be exact, he walked the entire sword path in less than a quarter of an hour. Lin Yu, the leader of the Tatian sect, swallowed and said he comprehended a sword tablet in less than 10 breaths. The other ancestors in the hall were all shocked. In less than a quarter of an hour, he walked the sword path. In less than 10 breaths, he comprehended a sword tablet. They were simply listening to the scriptures from heaven. After Wu Peng was shocked, he could no longer suppress his murderous intent. Blood-red flames rolled all over his body, and even red bloodshot appeared in his eyes. This Yang Xiaoshan, no matter the cost, must be killed. For tens of thousands of years, no one has ever been able to reach the end of the sword path of the True Dragon Divine Sect, but Yang Xiaoshan reached the end in less than a quarter of an hour. This is simply horrifying. It shows how terrifying Yang Xiaoshan's talent is. However, after being shocked, the divine ancestor Tang Hang still couldn't help wondering, this Yang Xiaoshan, who only has the 11th level twin martial souls, how can he control the divine fire? Why can he condense the divine golden elixir? Why can he reach the sword path in less than a quarter of an hour? I have also thought about this question. Lin Yu pondered. Now many masters of the empire speculate that Yang Xiaoshan's twin martial souls should have evolved to the 12th level. And I guess there must be other secrets in him, otherwise, he would not be able to control the divine fire. Everyone was shocked. Wu Peng's face was as gloomy as water, and he gave Lin Yu a death order. Try every possible way to kill him before he breaks through the martial emperor. Yes, ancestor. After Lin Yu and a group of saints retreated, Wu Peng looked at the other 8 divine realm ancestors in the hall, and said in a deep voice, you must find the 9 heavenly tribulation thunder water for me, and repair the heavenly sword. As long as the heavenly sword is repaired, they will be able to kill the Shenlong ancestor of the Shenlong Imperial Room. At that time, replace the Shenlong Imperial Room. I have asked people to inquire in other empires. Tang Hang said, don't worry, we will find it. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Yang Xiaoshan finally completely refined the 4 sword spirits of Jian He. What made Yang Xiaoshan happy was that he finally condensed the 8th 9-color sword heart. Although it was only the 8th, it was still far from the 14th, but no matter what, it was one step closer to the 14th. And his cultivation also broke through to the 7th late stage of Wuzang. Lee King's 7 bowls of dragon mushroom soup played an indispensable role in his ability to break through the 7th late stage of Wuzong so quickly. On this day, Xian Zhengai, the owner of the killer building, came to see Yang Xiaoshan with an excited face. "Sir, good news. We have discovered an innate secret realm in the killer building." Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Innate secret realm? The True Dragon secret realm of the True Dragon Divine Sect is one of the innate secret realms. Generally speaking, this kind of innate secret realm has many treasures. This innate secret realm has a very strong innate thunder energy. There may be heavenly thunder water deep in the secret realm. Xian Zhengai said excitedly, and we found the cave of Medicine God Sultan in this innate secret realm. Medicine God Sultan is the only pharmacist in the Dragon Empire who can refine god level elixirs. And to refine god level elixirs, one of the medicinal ingredients requires heavenly thunder water of more than 7 levels. His cave may have heavenly thunder water of more than 7 levels. Chapter 254 Yang Xiaoshan, I finally found you. Knowing that there was a cave of Medicine God Sultan in the Xianshan secret realm, Yang Xiaoshan was excited and asked, "Where is the Xianshan secret realm?" "The Wind and Thunder Valley at the junction of Arshin Lang Empire and the Four Continents Empire." "Wind and Thunder Valley? Take me there now." Yang Xiaoshan decided immediately. The news of the Xianshan secret realm's emergence will not be kept secret for long. So, Yang Xiaoshan said goodbye to his family and said he would go out for a few days and immediately left the True Dragon sect with Xian Zhengai. After leaving the True Dragon sect, Yang Xiaoshan summoned the Sky Blue Thunder Python, and he and Xian Zhengai stood directly on the Sky Blue Thunder Python and rushed to the Wind and Thunder Valley. Xian Zhengai stood on the Sky Blue Thunder Python, a super beast, and always felt weak in his feet. To be precise, his whole body was weak. "Liu Meng, use the fastest speed," Yang Xiaoshan urged. Immediately, the Sky Blue Thunder Python's body was full of lightning, turning into a lightning that surpassed light. Frightened, Xian Zhengai pulled Yang Xiaoshan. Just as the two people and one beast were above the 9 heavens, facing the storm and constantly approaching the Wind and Thunder Valley, Lin Yu of the Heaven Stepping sect also learned about the appearance of the Xianshan secret realm and quickly reported it to Wu Peng. When Wu Peng learned that there was a cave in the Xianshan secret realm where the medicine god Sudan practiced in the past, and it was very likely that there was 9-fold heavenly tribulation thunder water, he was immediately surprised and unusual. "Ancestor, should I go there in person?" Lin Yu asked. "No." Wu Peng shook his head and then said to the two gods, Tang Hang and Chen Wenxi, "You two go there in person and do your best to find the 9-fold heavenly tribulation thunder water. If there is really 9-fold heavenly tribulation thunder water in the secret realm, even if you only have half your life left, you must bring it back to me." "Don't worry." Tang Hang and Chen Wenxi nodded and immediately broke through the air and left, disappearing into the sky in the blink of an eye. At the same time, the Four Continents Imperial House and the Blue Sea Divine Sect also learned about the Xianshan secret realm one after another and sent masters to the Wind and Thunder Valley. The one who came from the Four Continents Imperial House was the Flying Dragon Sword Saint. In addition to the Flying Dragon Sword Saint, there was also the Four Continents Prince Jiuo Hong, and more than a dozen saints of the 10th layer. Originally, the Flying Dragon Sword Saint went to the Beast God Mountain a few days ago, and would not come back until half a year later, but this time he got a great opportunity in the Beast God Mountain, and broke through to the Semi-God realm, so he returned to the Four Continents Empire in advance. The people who came from the Blue Sea Divine Sect were the leaders Ao Crossing, Du Zhen, and Li Wanshao. When Yang Xiaoshan arrived at the Wind and Thunder Valley, it was completely dark. At night, the wind was blowing in the Wind and Thunder Valley, and the sky above the valley was covered with dark clouds, thunder and lightning. "Let's go in." Yang Xiaoshan did not hesitate, and immediately stepped into the Wind and Thunder Valley. He did not perform the dragon art, but let the strong wind hit him. Soon, several people saw the entrance to the innate secret realm deep in the Wind and Thunder Valley. The entrance was not big, and only a few people could enter. The Sky Blue Thunder Python turned into a human form. Just when Yang Xiaoshan and his friends had just entered the entrance to the secret realm, a group of people rushed to the back of the Wind and Thunder Valley. They were Jiuo Hong, the Crown Prince of the Four Continents Empire, and the Masters of the Flying Dragon Sword Saint. Jiuo Han was startled when he saw Yang Xiaoshan from afar, and immediately he was filled with hatred. Yang Xiaoshan. Although he only saw him from afar, he recognized Yang Xiaoshan at a glance. After Yang Xiaoshan used Shura power 100 times, he could recognize Yang Xiaoshan, even if he turned into ash. Yang Xiaoshan from the True Dragon sect? Filang Sword Saint immediately reacted. However, when they came to the entrance of the secret realm and entered the secret realm, Yang Xiaoshan and his companions had already disappeared. Jiuo Han gritted his teeth and said, he must be in the secret realm. Then he scanned the secret realm space frantically, with a ferocious face. Yang Xiaoshan, I didn't expect you to come too. It's really hard to find a place like this. This time, I'm going to blast you to death and blow you up into pieces. Filang Sword Saint pondered and said, Yang Xiaoshan should also be coming for the Medicine God Cave Mansion. Then he led everyone to fly to the Medicine God Cave Mansion. Jiuo Han said to the Flying Dragon Sword Saint, Master, I will kill Yang Xiaoshan with my own hands later. Okay. The Flying Dragon Sword Saint nodded. He also heard that there was a ghost-headed masked master next to Yang Xiaoshan, who might be in the late 10th level of the Saint Realm or even the peak of the late stage. However, he was still very confident in his own strength. Before he broke through to the demigod, he was the first saint of the Four Continents Empire. Now that he has broken through to the demigod, he is enough to kill all the peak saints. Even if the 4 ghost-headed masked masters around Yang Xiaoshan are all at the peak of the Saint Realm, he has the confidence to kill them all. Just as the Flying Dragon Sword Saint and his men rushed to the Medicine God Cave Mansion at a very fast speed, Zhao Crossing of the Blue Sea God Sect and Tang Hang of the Stepping Heaven Sect arrived at the Xianshan Secret Realm almost at the same time. However, the Blue Sea God Sect and the Stepping Heaven Sect are in an alliance, and the two sides immediately joined forces to come to the Medicine God Cave Mansion. With Xian Zhengai leading the way, Yang Xiaoshan and the Sky Blue Thunder Python quickly arrived at the Medicine God Cave Mansion. The gate of Yaoshan Cave was tightly closed. Xian Zhengai went forward and tried to push the gate open, but found that the gate did not move at all. Even if Xian Zhengai circulated his true essence and pushed with all his strength, it was useless. Xian Zhengai was shocked. He was in the late 10th level of the Saint Realm. With a push, he could push a mountain away, but now he couldn't push open this small iron door. When Xian King Thunder Python was about to push it open, Yang Xiaoshan said, no need. Then he observed the runes on the gate, waved his hand, and the 9 Phoenix Golden Flame flew out. Under the power of the 9 Phoenix Golden Flame, the runes on the gate emitted a burst of fire, and the gate slowly opened. Yang Xiaoshan led the two into the cave. The gate of the cave closed again. Not long after Yang Xiaoshan and the other two entered the cave, the people of the Four Continents Empire also came to the cave, but no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't open the gate. Finally, the people of the Blue Sea God Sect and the Tatian Sect arrived, and only opened the gate under the power of Tang Hang's strange fire. After entering the cave, the three parties searched separately. The cave was very spacious. Yang Xiaoshan found the Sultan's alchemy room by identifying the smell of medicinal materials. In the alchemy room, there was a purple gold tripod, and on the medicine cabinets around it, there were various elixirs. Yang Xiaoshan went forward to check, and found that they were all Emperor level elixirs. Then he opened the Sultan's purple gold tripod, and there was nothing in the tripod. This disappointed Yang Xiaoshan. Originally, he expected that the Sultan's alchemy room would at least have saint level elixirs. As long as there were saint level elixirs, Liao Bing could break through the realm of the gods. He took away all the emperor level elixirs in the purple gold tripod. Afterwards, he continued to search for other palaces, but only found some alchemy secrets, and nothing else. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and others were searching, a hateful voice rang out, Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan looked, and saw that Jiuo Han, the prince of the Four Continents, was staring at him with murderous intent in the distance behind him. Yang Xiaoshan, I finally found you. Jiuo Han laughed fiercely, wait, I will bomb you to death, bomb you to death. After that, he flew over with Filang Sword Saint and others. Yang Xiaoshan was annoyed because he didn't find the saint level elixir in the 7th heaven tribulation thunder water. When he saw Jiuo Han, he clenched his hands. Last time he bombed it 100 times, and later he would bomb it 1,000 times. Chapter 255, Flying Dragon Sword Master. Jiuo Hong, the Flying Dragon Sword Saint, and a group of 4 continents Empire Masters came to Yangtze Ocean, and surrounded Yangtze Ocean and his 2 companions. Yangtze Ocean, you didn't expect to meet me here, did you? Jiuo Hong came to Yangtze Ocean, his face full of murderous intent and pride. These days, I can't eat or sleep, all thanks to you. I think about tearing you into pieces all the time every day. I will blast you so hard that you can't take care of yourself and turn you into an idiot. Jiuo Hong roared, and his face became more and more ferocious as he spoke. After being blasted 100 times by Yangtze Ocean last time, his story had spread throughout the capital of the 4 continents empire. Even his brothers, who were usually looked down upon by him, now said the most to him every time they met, saying 100 times. Now, as long as he heard it 100 times, he would go crazy. Yangtze Ocean looked at Jiuo Hong with a ferocious face, but said calmly, I really didn't expect to meet you here, but don't worry, last time it was 100 times, I will hit you 1,000 times later. Hearing Yangtze Ocean mention 100 times, Jiuo Hong went crazy, pointed the long sword in his hand at Yangtze Ocean, and laughed wildly. Yangtze Ocean, you are still arrogant. When you are about to die, I should say this, I will hit you 1,000 times later. If 1,000 times is not enough, I will hit you 2,000 times. At this time, Flying Sword Saint stepped forward and stabbed at Cheyenne King Thunder Python and Cheyenne's Hengai at the same time. This sword is a sword of life and death. The sword stabs out, breaking all defenses in the world. It makes people have no place to hide and no place to escape. It seems that, no matter where you escape, you can't escape the sword energy of this sword. Cheyenne's Hengai is the owner of the killer building, and the second on the Shenlong Empire killer list, but when facing this sword, his face also changed drastically. Flying Dragon Sword Saint. He had never seen the Flying Dragon Sword Saint, but the moment he saw this sword, he knew who the man in front of him was. Flying Dragon Sword Saint. He is said to be the Sword Saint who has the best chance of becoming the second Blue Lotus Sword Saint among the surrounding countries. The Flying Dragon Sword Saint is not only the first saint of the 4 continents empire, but also the first saint of the surrounding countries. Even the first saint of the Dragon Empire saint list cannot stop the sword of the Flying Dragon Sword Saint. Decades ago, the first saint of the Dragon Empire saint list had fought with the Flying Dragon Sword Saint, but was stabbed by the opponent and fled. Just as Shan Zhengai was surprised to draw his sword, suddenly, a hand stretched out. When this hand stretched out, the sword energy in the sky suddenly dissipated. The Flying Dragon Sword Saint's Flying Dragon Sword was clamped by 2 fingers. The Flying Dragon Sword seemed to be fixed in mid-air. Everyone in the 4 continents empire was stunned. Especially the Flying Dragon Sword Saint, who was extremely confident in his sword, was even more stunned. He looked at the middle-aged man next to Yangtze Ocean in disbelief. Previously, he had not taken the Azure Thunder Python and Cheyenne Zhengai seriously. At this moment, his face gradually became solemn, staring at the Azure Thunder Python. Who is this, sir? The Azure Thunder Python snorted coldly, and an extremely strong force came out from the Flying Dragon Sword, shocking the Flying Dragon Sword Saint to retreat again and again. Yangtze Ocean still had to find the Saint level elixir and the 7th Heavenly Tribulation Thunder Water, and was too lazy to entangle with the other party, so he said, kill them all. Yes, sir. The Azure Thunder Python replied respectfully. The Flying Dragon Sword Saint couldn't help but laugh in anger when he heard Yangtze Ocean shamelessly asking his men to kill him. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly saw the Azure Thunder Python's body surging with lightning, and it had changed from a human form back to its original form. The Azure Thunder Python's original form, like the ancient sacred mountain, coiled in the sky. The lightning was diffused, covering 100 miles around. The overwhelming divine power was like an endless sea. Even the demigod Flying Dragon Sword Saint was suffocated by it. The Azure Thunder Python's bloodline has returned to its ancestral lineage. As a super beast, its divine power is so vast and amazing that even many saints cannot bear it, let alone Jiuo Hong, who is at the peak of martial arts. Jiuo Hong almost rolled his eyes. Beast God, Azure Thunder Python. The saints of the Four Continents Empire trembled. Even the flying dragon sword saint, who had just laughed in anger, changed his face. The middle-aged man in front of him turned out to be the Azure Thunder Python. How could the Azure Thunder Python follow Yang's Ocean? Didn't they say that the Azure Thunder Python was subdued by the mysterious Lord Long? Lord Long. Suddenly, he thought of something and looked at Yang's Ocean with a shocked face. You are Lord Long? Yes. At this time, Yang's Ocean had nothing to hide. He was shrouded in darkness and wore a dragon head mask. Guo Hong and the saints of the Four Continents Empire looked at Yang's Ocean in horror. More than a year ago, the blood of the Azure Thunder Python returned to its ancestral lineage, defeated the two great spiritual ancestors of the Green God Sea sect, and was subdued by the mysterious Lord Long. When this matter spread, it shocked the Four Continents Empire. Over the past year, the Four Continents Empire and the Dragon Empire have been searching for the whereabouts of Lord Long. The mysterious Lord Long turned out to be Yang's Ocean of the True Dragon sect. Guo Hong and others were shocked, but more incredible. Who would have thought that Lord Long, who subdued the beast god Azure Thunder Python, would be Yang's Ocean? Kill. Yang's Ocean's eyes were cold, and the Tangshan divine sword appeared in his hand. One move was sword killing all directions, and suddenly, the sword energy was everywhere. Guo Hong only felt a flash of sword energy in front of his eyes, and before he could react, he was hit by the Tangshan sword energy and fell out. Tangshan divine sword. The flying dragon sword saint recognized the sword in Yang's Ocean's hand at a glance and was shocked. However, at this time, there was a loud bang in the sky, and he looked up in shock, and saw the thunder that fell from the sky. Retreat. The flying dragon sword saint roared in shock and anger, and the sword energy on his body surged into the sky. There were tens of millions of these sword energies, forming huge sword dragons, facing the thunder in the sky. The other Saint Realm ancestors of the Four Continents Empire also took action and slashed their swords frantically. More than a dozen Saint Realm 10th layer ancestors took action at the same time, and their power was terrifying. The power of destroying the world blasted towards the nine heavens, as if to break the sky. However, the thunder in the sky instantly destroyed and submerged the sword dragon of the flying dragon sword saint. At that time, even the two great god realm ancestors of the Blue Sea divine religion, Liu Yang and Ziwei Qiang, could not withstand the attack of the sky blue thunder python's nine heavens thunder, let alone the flying dragon sword saint and these saint realm ancestors. No matter how strong the flying dragon sword saint and these saint realm ancestors are, they can't be stronger than Liu Yang and Ziwei Qiang at that time. Moreover, over the past year or so, the Sky Blue Thunder Python has absorbed the True Dragon Key in the True Dragon Secret Realm to cultivate, and its cultivation is stronger than before. Boom. Before the Flying Dragon Sword Saint and the ancestors of the Four Continents Empire could retreat, they were blown away by the Nine Heavens Divine Thunder. It was like 10,000 thunder-type nuclear bombs were bombarded on the ground. The ancestors of the Four Continents Empire were all blown into countless flesh and blood, without even a complete corpse. Even the flying dragon sword saint was covered in blood and cracks, and only half of his breath was left lying there. Although he had broken through to the demigod level, he was only a demigod after all, not a god. Seeing the ancestors of the Four Continents Empire all blown into flesh and blood and the flying dragon sword saint lying there with only half of his breath left, Guo Hong, who was blown away by the Tangshan sword key, was so scared that his 7 souls flew away. Yang's Ocean rushed forward and followed with a sure force punch. Chapter 256, Flying Dragon Holy Pill. Guo Hong was hit by Yang's Ocean sure power and was incontinent. After being hit 100 times last time, he was extremely afraid of sure power. That feeling was simply the nightmare of his life. Yang's Ocean had no expression on his face, and threw the second punch, the third punch, the fourth punch. Yang's Ocean punched one after another. The sound was like beating a drum. Xian Zhengyi, the owner of the killer building, stood in the distance, but he was shocked to see the flying dragon sword saint lying there with only half a breath left, and the ancestors of the Four Continents Empire were blown to pieces. As the owner of the killer building, he had seen countless killing scenes, but he still couldn't hide his shock. The flying dragon sword saint was known as the #1 person under the gods, and his swordsmanship was superb. He might even become the second kingly sword god, but at this moment, he was only half a breath left and lying there. The flying dragon sword saint opened his mouth and wanted to say something. In the end, before Yang Xiaoshan had hit him 1,000 times, Jiuo Hong, the prince of the 4 continents, had been blown up. Yang Xiaoshan walked in front of the flying dragon sword saint. The 4 continents imperial family will destroy the true dragon sect. Flying sword saint used up his last bit of strength and said with a firm look. Yang Xiaoshan inserted the Tangshan divine sword directly into the center of Flying sword saint's throat. Don't worry about this. Then he slowly pushed forward. Blood kept coming out. Flying sword saint stared at Yang Xiaoshan. He would never believe, until his death, that he would die in the hands of a martial arts boy one day. In the end, Flying sword saint, who was expected to become the second kingly sword god, stopped moving. Xian Heng's mouth was dry. Yang Xiaoshan pulled out the Tangshan divine sword. After drinking the blood of a demigod, the sword of Tangshan divine sword kept swallowing and spitting out, and the sword body became brighter. Yang Xiaoshan summoned the flame of the earth and burned all the bodies of Flying sword saint and others. Since then, Flying sword saint and others have completely disappeared from this world. Yang Xiaoshan took away the Flying sword and the space rings of the people in the 4 continents empire, and continued to search for the holy level elixir and the 7-layer heavenly tribulation thunder water with Xian's Hengai and Xian King Thunder Python. At this time, the people of the Baha'i divine religion and the Tatian sect were trapped in a space restriction in the cave, unable to escape. They could only hear the deafening noise outside, but could not see the situation outside. However, the noise soon stopped, which made the people of the Baha'i divine religion and the Tatian sect suspicious. Yang Xiaoshan searched the cave inside and out, but could not find the holy level elixir and the 7-fold heavenly tribulation thunder water. In the end, he had to give up and leave the cave. However, he was unwilling to leave, so he took Xian Zhengai and Xian King Thunder Python to continue walking deep into the secret realm. This innate secret realm has such a strong thunder energy. There should be heavenly tribulation thunder water in the depths of the secret realm. The secret realm is very large. Yang Xiaoshan and the other 2 flew for a day and still could not see the end. At this time, the thunder energy in the secret realm was so strong that it was about to turn into water. Thunder and lightning flashed in the sky. There were dense thunder snakes. Even Yang Xiaoshan did not dare to be careless and activated the dragon art. The dragon of true essence roared and formed a dragon barrier. Yang Xiaoshan and the other 2 continued to move forward. However, the further they went inside, the stronger the thunder energy became. The thunder snakes in the sky became thicker and thicker, almost as strong as thunder dragons. Even Xian Zhengai felt his scalp tingling when he saw the thunder dragons in the sky. Thunder dragons would fall from the sky from time to time. However, with the Azure Thunder Python, these thunder dragons could not hit the 2 of them at all. After walking for another half a day, the thunder dragons in the sky had turned into thunder dragons. These thunder dragons came down with a roar, which was comparable to many attacks at the peak of the 10th level of the Holy Realm. The Azure Thunder Python was full of lightning, supporting the thunder barrier, allowing these thunder dragons to hit the thunder barrier. Heavenly tribulation thunder water. Xian Zhengai looked ahead in surprise. In front, the thunder energy turned into water, and drops of thunder energy condensed into water drops, suspended in the sky. It was the first level of heavenly tribulation thunder water. Seeing the first level of heavenly tribulation thunder water, Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Sure enough, there was heavenly tribulation thunder water in the depths of the secret realm. Although it was only the first level of heavenly tribulation thunder water, and there was not much, it still gave Yang Xiaoshan hope. In the deepest part of the secret realm, there must be 2, even 3, 4, and 5 layers of heavenly tribulation thunder water. Maybe there is even a 7th layer. Yang Xiaoshan took out the jade bottle, walked forward, and carefully collected these first layer heavenly tribulation thunder water. Then he continued to move forward. However, the deeper he went, the stronger the thunder power in the sky became. The dense thunder dragons fell down, and even the thunder barrier of the sky blue thunder python showed signs of being blown away. After Yang Xiaoshan collected a few hundred drops of the 2nd layer heavenly tribulation thunder water, the sky blue thunder python could no longer move forward. Yang Xiaoshan could only wake up Master Ding. Knowing that there was no need to fight, Master Ding readily protected Yang Xiaoshan and walked forward. A few more days passed. Finally, Yang Xiaoshan came to the end of the secret realm. At the end of the secret realm, there was the 7th layer heavenly tribulation thunder water. Although not much, there were also hundreds of drops, enough for Yang Xiaoshan's martial soul to evolve to the Supreme King. This comforted Yang Xiaoshan a little. As for the 9th layer heavenly tribulation thunder water, he could only look for it later. Yang Xiaoshan returned along the same route and left the secret realm with Shian King Li Mang and Shian Zhengai. Young master, you want to find a holy elixir. In fact, there are holy elixirs in the Tatian sect, Furung Sword sect, and the ancient palace treasury. Shian Zhengai said on the way. Yang Xiaoshan was stunned and speechless. He couldn't let him kill his way to the mountain gate to rob. After all, the 10 super sects all have mountain guarding formations. In fact, the 4 continents imperial household and the dragon imperial household all have holy elixirs. Shian Zhengai said. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head when he heard it. Don't even think about it. At night, Yang Xiaoshan and the other 2 rested by the campfire on the slope. Yang Xiaoshan opened the Furung Sword Saint space ring and checked if there was anything good. He found a secret book for refining Furung Saint pills, as well as many spiritual stones and spiritual medicines. Yang Xiaoshan flipped through the Furung Saint pill secret book and was not interested. Finally, he found a jade bottle of elixir in the space ring and opened it casually. Suddenly, light soared into the sky and the fragrance of the elixir surged like the sea. Inside the jade bottle, there was a pill, and there was a faint sound of dragon roaring. Dragon energy rose from the surface of the pill. Flying dragon holy pill. Shian Zhengai was surprised. Yang Xiaoshan was stunned. Flying dragon holy pill. Unexpectedly, there was a flying dragon holy pill in the flying dragon sword saint space ring. However, Yang Xiaoshan then discovered that this flying dragon holy pill was not truly successfully refined. It was only a semi-finished product, so it had not yet taken shape. Seeing that it was only a semi-finished flying dragon holy pill, Yang Xiaoshan was disappointed. Shian King Thunder Python said, "Sir, I have dragon crystals. If I put this flying dragon holy pill back into the furnace for refining, it should be able to take shape. However, it is more difficult to refine this semi-finished pill back into the furnace. If you want to refine it successfully, you need your Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire." Yang Xiaoshan stood up and said, "Okay, I will use the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire to assist you in refining the pill." Immediately, Yang Xiaoshan took out the medicine cauldron and summoned the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire to assist Shian King Thunder Python. As the king of divine beasts, the Azure Thunder Python had practiced for many years, so his medicine refining skills were naturally not low. With the help of Yang Xiaoshan's divine fire of thunder tribulation, the fragrance of the elixir in the medicine cauldron soon became stronger. However, just as the elixir was completed, several people flew over from a distance. They were Zhao Crossing, Du Zhen, and Li Wanshao from the Blue Sea Divine Sect. They were obviously attracted by the fragrance of the elixir. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257, Destroy the True Dragon Sect. From a distance, several people saw the holy light that shot up into the sky when the flying dragon holy pill was formed. Seeing the holy light and the shadow of the flying dragon, several people were surprised. It's the flying dragon holy pill. Du Zhen was extremely surprised. Zhao Crossing also laughed and said, "It seems that our visit to the secret realm this time is not without gain." This time, the people of the Blue Sea Divine Cult entered the Xianshan secret realm and searched for many days, but found nothing. They only found some holy medicines that had not yet grown fully. Several people came out of the secret realm. They were not in a good mood at first, but now they were all extremely happy. You know, the flying dragon holy pill is one of the best holy level pills. A flying dragon holy pill is hard to come by. Several people accelerated and flew towards Yang Xiaoshan's position. At this time, by the campfire, the sky blue thunder python looked at the transformed flying dragon holy pill and smiled. Fortunately, it has fulfilled its mission and finally the pill has been formed. Yang Ocean had already put away the thunder tribulation divine fire and looked at the flying dragon holy pill and smiled. With this flying dragon holy pill, Liu Bing can break through, right? Once Liu Bing breaks through the divine realm, his combat power will definitely be fierce. At this time, Zhao Crossing, Du Zhen, Li Wanshao and others landed in front of Yang Ocean and others. Because Yang Ocean was wearing a dragon head mask before, Zhao Crossing, Du Zhen, Li Wanshao and others did not recognize Yang Ocean and Giant King Thunder Python. After Zhao Crossing and others arrived, their eyes were fixed on the flying dragon holy pill in Yang Ocean's hand, and they did not hide the burning and greed in their eyes. This little brother, can you show me the pill in your hand? Du Zhen was the first to speak with a smile. I'm quite knowledgeable about pills. I will help you identify it. Yang Ocean said calmly, let me identify the pill for you. This sentence was just short of asking Yang Ocean to give the pill directly to him. Du Zhen laughed and said, not bad, let me identify it. Although Zhao Crossing, Du Zhen, Li Wanshao and others saw that Giant King Thunder Python and Xiang Zhengai were not simple, they did not take it to heart. After all, Zhao Crossing and Du Zhen were both at the peak of the 10th level of the Holy Realm. The two of them joined forces and could naturally sweep the Holy Realm. What if I don't give it to you? Yang Ocean said. Du Zhen's smile remained unchanged. Don't give it to me. I'm afraid it's not up to you, little brother. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and he smiled. I advise you to give me the elixir. It will be good for everyone. Yang Ocean shook his head. If you leave now, I can still let you leave. Then he said slowly, otherwise, you won't be able to leave later. Du Zhen, Zhao Crossing, Li Wanshao and others all smiled when they heard this. Boy, I should be the one to say this to you. Du Zhen laughed. In that case, there's no need for you to leave. At this point, he suddenly grabbed the elixir in Yang Ocean's hand. Zhao Crossing and Li Wanshao attacked at the same time. Zhao Crossing stabbed the Azure Thunder Python with a sword. Li Wanshao punched Xiang Zhengai. Just when Du Zhen was about to grab the elixir in Yang Ocean's hand, suddenly, a hand blocked Du Zhen. The hand did not move, but just blocked it lightly. Du Zhen felt a terrifying force that made his soul tremble like a raging flood. He was shocked and retreated repeatedly, crashing into the mountain behind him, spitting blood. The other hand of the Azure Thunder Python directly grasped Zhao Crossing's long sword, and with a shock, the long sword in Zhao Crossing's hand was shaken away. Zhao Crossing fell and vomited blood. Li Wanshao's situation was not much better. He was stabbed in the chest by Xian's Heng Yi's sword and flew out. His chest was almost pierced. Du Zhen, Zhao Crossing, and Li Wanshao were all shocked and looked at the Azure Thunder Python in disbelief. Who is this? Du Zhen did not bother to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth and said in fear. His right arm had completely lost consciousness and his arm bones had been broken into more than a dozen sections. This made him even more frightened. The opponent just blocked it lightly, but he was shocked and injured, and his right arm was almost completely broken. And their leader was also knocked away and seriously injured by the opponent. In one move, two people at the peak of the 10th level of the Holy Realm were injured. Just when Du Zhen, Zhao Crossing, and Li Wanshao were in doubt, Yang Ocean said, kill them all. Kill them all. Du Zhen, Zhao Crossing, and Li Wanshao were all terrified when they heard Yang Ocean's words. Just when Du Zhen was about to speak, suddenly, the sky blue thunder python turned into a lightning bolt and instantly came in front of Du Zhen. The sky blue thunder python did not transform into its original form, but directly punched. With one punch, thousands of divine thunders blasted towards Du Zhen like a torrent of the end of the world. Du Zhen looked at the thousands of divine thunders like a torrent of the end of the world, horrified, and wanted to raise his fist to block the vast divine thunder, but it was useless, and he was instantly swallowed by the vast divine thunder. At the same time, the sky blue thunder python's fist directly blasted through the opponent's heart. Du Zhen was blown away. When he fell to the ground, his heart had become a terrifying hole. Du Zhen spurted blood and looked at the sky blue thunder python in fear. Got And it was a powerful god who was more terrifying than the most powerful god ancestor of their Baha'i divine religion. After the Azure Thunder Python punched out, it came to Zhao Crossing and Li Wanshao again in a flash, and punched out again. Zhao Crossing and Li Wanshao retreated in fear, but how could they be faster than the Azure Thunder Python? They were hit by the Azure Thunder Python's fists in an instant. Zhao Crossing and Du Zhen were both hit in the chest. Li Wanshao was directly blown up and turned into blood and flesh. Zhao Crossing and Du Zhen lay on the ground, looking at the Azure Thunder Python in horror. It punched a 10th level Saint Realm Master. Ordinary gods and spirits could not have such terrifying power. Who is this middle-aged man? What made them even more terrified was that such a terrifying god and spirit actually obeyed the orders of a young boy. Who is this young boy? Even the princes of the surrounding empires could not command a god and spirit. Who are you? Who are you? Du Zhen said in a trembling voice. The Azure Thunder Python looked indifferent, raised his right palm, and saw thunder rolling down from the sky to Zhao Crossing and Du Zhen. Seeing the familiar scene of countless divine thunders rolling down from the 9 heavens, Zhao Crossing and Du Zhen suddenly remembered a scene on the Blue Sea more than a year ago. The two people's faces changed drastically. Suddenly, they understood the identity of this middle-aged man. So he was. However, before the two of them opened their mouths, they were submerged and swallowed by countless divine thunders from the 9 heavens. Boom. The ground shook violently. The entire land seemed to have been opened up countless layers. Dust rushed into the sky, as if the end of the world had arrived. The dust in the sky could not disperse for a long time. The ground where Du Zhen and Zhao Crossing were located had completely turned into an abyss. As for the two of them, they had completely dissipated under the power of thousands of divine thunders. Let's go. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at the abyss and flew away with Xian King Thunder Python and Xian Zhengai. Now, he wants to find an uninhabited place for Liaobing to break through the realm of the gods. After all, Liaobing's breakthrough in the realm of the gods made a lot of noise. Not long after Yang Xiaoshan and his companions left, Tang Hang and Chen Wenxi from the Tatian sect returned to the Tatian sect. Wu Peng's face turned ugly when he learned that Tang Hang and Chen Wenxi had not found the 9-layered heavenly tribulation thunder water. By the way, the Prince of the 4 Continents said that he saw Yang Xiaoshan enter the Xianshan secret realm before us. Tang Hang said, could it be that Yang Xiaoshan got there first and got the 9-layered heavenly tribulation thunder water? If so, Yang Xiaoshan must die now. Wu Peng said coldly. But if Yang Xiaoshan hides in the True Dragon Divine Sect, we can't do anything about it. Chen Wenxi said. In that case, then destroy the True Dragon Divine Sect as well. Wu Peng said shockingly. Chapter 258, Ice Flame Kirin crosses the Divine Tribulation. Destroy the True Dragon Sect? Tang Hang and Chen Wenxi were shocked. Yes, destroy the True Dragon Sect. Wu Peng said coldly. In fact, destroying the True Dragon Sect was his idea long ago. Yang Xiaoshan must die. However, the True Dragon Sect is in the way, and destroying the True Dragon Sect is just the right way to scare the monkeys. But the True Dragon Sect's mountain defense formation is not weak. Tang Han frowned, and that Tyrannosaurus Rex is a trouble. He has thought about this problem. If the True Dragon Sect is to be destroyed, the Xian Sect will also have to pay a heavy price. Wu Peng said coldly, Fearing Sword Sect has also wanted to destroy the True Dragon Sect for a long time, and as far as I know, the Ancient Palace and Maha Sect also want to kill Yang Xiaoshan. Tang Hang and the others heard what Wu Peng meant, and they joined forces with Fearing Sword Sect, Ancient Palace, and Maha Sect to destroy the True Dragon Sect in one fell swoop. If so, the Xian Sect can uproot the True Dragon Sect at a small price. Contact Fearing Sword Sect, Ancient Palace, and Maha Sect. Wu Peng said in a deep voice, remember, this matter must be kept secret, and cannot be leaked. And it must be done quickly. We will set off at night in 3 days. Understood. Tang Han nodded. At this time, somewhere in the wilderness, Bingan Kilin swallowed the flying dragon holy pill, and his whole body was covered with ice blue flames. His breath was violent, and the amazing power of the gods appeared and disappeared from time to time. In the sky, black clouds gathered, and amazing lightning continued to spread. A power from the sky pressed down, and Xian Zhengai's breathing was tight. Even though Yang Xiaoshan is now at the peak of the 7th level of Wu Zhang, he still feels suffocated in the face of this power. Knowing that Bing Iron Killen is going to cross the divine tribulation, Yang Zai Ocean, Xian Zengai and Xian King Thunder Python all retreated far away. Xian Zengai stared at the thunder of the divine tribulation that continued to condense in the sky, and his heart was beating wildly with nervousness. Although he is the owner of the killer building, it is also the first time he has seen others cross the divine tribulation. Although Yang Zai Ocean had seen the Azure Thunder Python go through the divine tribulation, at this moment, his palms were sweating with nervousness. Is Leo Bing going through the 6th divine tribulation? Yang Zai Ocean took a deep breath and asked. The Azure Thunder Python was a divine beast and went through the 3rd divine tribulation. The Ice Flame Kirin is a super divine beast and should go through the 6th divine tribulation. The Azure Thunder Python also had a solemn expression. It's the 6th divine tribulation. How is it better than your 3rd divine tribulation? Yang Zai Ocean asked. I'm afraid it's 10 times stronger. Azure Thunder Python said in a deep voice. Yang Zai Ocean's heart was beating wildly. Yang Zai Ocean still remembered the terrifying power of the thunder when the Azure Thunder Python went through the 3rd divine tribulation. If it was 10 times stronger, how terrifying it would be. Can Leo Bing survive it? If not, the end result would be that he would be blasted into ashes. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. The thunder that had been gathering in the sky suddenly blasted towards the Ice Flame Kirin. The light of the thunder illuminated the entire wilderness. However, just when the thunderbolt hit the top of the Ice Flame Kirin, suddenly, the Ice Flame Kirin opened his eyes, raised his huge claws like a mountain, and slapped it. Boom. The thunderbolt with terrifying power was blasted by the Ice Flame Kirin's claws. Countless thunderbolts exploded. The earth was shaking. Yang Zai Ocean was shocked. He didn't expect that the Ice Flame Kirin would directly blast the 1st level of the thunderbolt with his claws. At this time, the 2nd level of thunderbolt fell from the sky. The 2nd level of thunderbolt was more terrifying than the 1st level of thunderbolt, and it was purple. Purple Night Thunderbolt. Xian Zengai was terrified. Purple Night Thunderbolt. This is a very terrifying thunderbolt. Not only contains the power of thunderbolt, but also contains the power of purple fire. The power of purple fire is terrifying. Even some powerful gods are afraid of purple fire. However, facing the Purple Night Thunderbolt, the Ice Flame Kirin still raised his claws and blasted it directly. Then, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th divine tribulation thunders were all destroyed in the same way, using only a pair of claws to blast them. Seeing that Bing Iron Killen didn't even use a divine weapon, but just used a pair of claws to blast the first 5 divine tribulation thunders, Yang Zai Ocean, Xian Zengai, and Xian King Thunder Python were all shocked. Old Bing is too fierce, so fierce. Yang Zai Ocean exclaimed sincerely. Xian King Thunder Python also sighed. Old Bing is a natural super divine beast. He has been absorbing the underground fire spirit at the bottom of the volcano to cultivate hard. His foundation is much stronger than mine. He had used 2 divine weapons to overcome the 3 divine tribulations before, but he was almost killed. But he only used a pair of dragon claws to directly overcome the first 5 divine tribulation thunders. The difference is not a little bit. It's really a beast against a beast, and it's so annoying. There's only one last divine tribulation thunder left. I wonder if old Bing can make it through it. Yang Zai Ocean became nervous. Although Bing Iron Killen easily passed through the first 5 levels of divine thunder, the last level is definitely the strongest and most terrifying. Many Saint Realm peak powerhouses who break through the divine realm often fail because they fail to pass the last level. Xian King Li Mang and Xian Zengai also looked nervous. Boom. Above the sky, Thunder Dragon suddenly fell down, and the thunder was black, so black that it made people palpitate. Even Xian King Li Mang saw black thunder for the first time. When he saw the 6th level of divine thunder, his face changed drastically. It's the Black Annihilation Divine Thunder. The Black Annihilation Divine Thunder is 10 times more powerful and terrifying than the Purple Night Divine Thunder. Yang Zai Ocean's heart sank. He didn't expect that Bing Iron Killen's last level of Divine Thunder would be the Black Annihilation Divine Thunder. He had read the records that if he encountered the Black Annihilation Divine Thunder, it would be almost impossible to successfully pass the Divine Thunder. The Ice Flame Kirin looked at the Black Annihilation Thunder that was falling with a bang, and his face was solemn. He roared to the sky, shaking the 9 heavens, and his whole body was supported by ice blue flames. His body actually grew a circle again, and the ice blue flames became more fierce and darker blue. He slapped his claws at the same time. The overwhelming power of ice and fire simultaneously bombarded the black annihilation thunder. The sky-shaking roar made Yang Xiaoshan and Xian Zhengai's minds buzz. The earth collapsed. The surrounding mountains were all turned into powder. The terrifying airwaves swept one after another. Even though Yang Xiaoshan and his friends had retreated far enough, the aftermath of the airwaves still rushed towards Yang Xiaoshan and his friends with amazing power. However, with the sky blue thunder python there, these airwaves naturally did not hit Yang Xiaoshan. The sandstorm lasted for a long time. Yang Xiaoshan looked nervously and saw that the huge figure of the ice flame Kirin was standing in the center of the sandstorm, spewing ice blue flames all over his body. Seeing that Liao Bing was fine, Yang Xiaoshan felt relieved and overjoyed. Liao Bing finally succeeded in breaking through the divine realm. Although Liao Bing is also a super divine beast, he is not an ordinary super divine beast. Once he breaks through the divine realm, his strength will definitely be stronger than Liao Meng. Yang Xiaoshan and his companions flew forward. Bing and Qilin saw Yang Xiaoshan and his companions coming and turned into a human form. Liao Bing, congratulations on surviving the divine calamity, Yang Xiaoshan said with a smile. Bing and Qilin said with a smile, thank you, master. I didn't expect that the last level would be the Black Annihilation Divine Thunder. Fortunately, I'm old and strong, otherwise it would be difficult to survive. Everyone laughed. Several people rested for a while before returning to the True Dragon Divine Sect. Chapter 259, Who Angered the Beast God. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and his companions were on their way back to the True Dragon Sect, Xian Zhengai got the news that the Tatian Sect had joined forces with the Fulong Sword Sect, the Ancient Palace, and the Matter Sect to destroy the True Dragon Sect. Upon hearing the news, Xian Zhengai's face changed drastically, and he quickly reported the news to Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan's face also darkened when he heard it. Young master, why don't we just kill the Tatian Sect now? Bing and Qilin said murderously when he heard it. Yang Xiaoshan asked Xian Zhengai, when did it happen? 3 days ago. Xian Zhengai hurriedly said, the Tatian Sect has already set off for the True Dragon Sect, and all the Saint Realm powerhouses from the 4 super sects have been dispatched. Already set off. Yang Xiaoshan's voice was heavy, we are now rushing back to the True Dragon Sect with all our strength. Immediately, the sky blue thunder python transformed into its original form and took Yang Xiaoshan back to the True Dragon Sect quickly. At the same time, Yang Xiaoshan asked Xian Zhengai to notify the masters of the killer building to rush to the True Dragon Sect, and also joined hands with the barefoot old demon, the Thousand Snake Sword Master, and the Blood Prison Swordman, and asked them to lead all their men to rush to the True Dragon Sect for support. Xian Zhengai knew that the situation was serious and hurried the killers of the Tangshan killer building to rush to the True Dragon Sect as quickly as possible. Soon, the barefoot old demon, the Thousand Snake Sword Master, and the Blood Prison Swordman received Yang Xiaoshan's order. The barefoot old demon was the ancestor of the Fantasy Sea Demon cult. After receiving Yang Xiaoshan's order, he immediately led the masters of the Fantasy Sea Demon cult to rush to the True Dragon Sect. The Blood Prison Swordman also led all the masters of the Green Blood cult under his command to rush to the True Dragon Sect. The Thousand Snake Sword Master also shouted to the thousands of masters of the Thousand Snake Villa, everyone listen to the order, rush to the True Dragon Sect as quickly as possible and stand by. All the masters of the Fantasy Sea Demon cult, the Green Blood cult, the Thousand Snake Villa, and the Killer Building were dispatched, which immediately alarmed all parties in the world. What's going on? All the masters of the Killer Building are out. Why are all those old demons from the Fantasy Sea Demon cult and the Jade Blood cult out? Hasn't the Thousand Snake Sword Master appeared in many years? He's out now. Whether it's the Fantasy Sea Demon cult, the Jade Blood cult, the Thousand Snake Villa, or the Killer Building, they are all existences that people are afraid of. Now, they are all out. All the major sects and families are panicking. Although everyone doesn't know what's going on, they know that something big is going to happen. Just when everyone was panicking, Some masters who entered the Red Moon Forest were horrified to find that one after another of the mythical beasts that are usually hard to see flew out from the deepest part of the Red Moon Forest. Golden giant ape, six-winged tank snake, black water monster. Seeing the mythical beasts flying out from the deepest part of the Red Moon Forest, everyone was horrified. What's going on with these mythical beasts? Why are they all coming out from the depths of the Red Moon Forest? They seem to have heard a call. Who is calling them? Exclamation mark. Then, everyone's face changed drastically. It's the beast god. The only one who can summon these beasts is the beast god of the Red Moon Forest. The beast god of the volcano. Something big is going to happen. Although it is unknown what the beast god is going to do with these beasts, it is definitely a terrifying event. The Red Moon Forest has existed for countless years, and there have never been so many beasts summoned. Longlan and Longjie soon learned that all the beasts of the Red Moon Forest had come out from the depths of the Red Moon Forest, and their faces changed drastically. What are they going to do? Longlan's mouth was dry. All the beasts of the Red Moon Forest were out at the same time, which was absolutely terrifying. Even Longjie, the Dragon Emperor, was terrified. Quick, report to the ancestors. Longjie knew that the situation was serious, so he quickly reported to the dragon ancestor. Although their ancestors said that he should not be disturbed unless it was a matter of life and death, he could not care so much now. When the dragon ancestor heard Longjie's report, his brows were also locked, and he was in doubt. Who is so blind that he angered the beast god? Angered the beast god? Longjie's heart was choked. Ancestor, do you think that some of our imperial family's ignorant descendants have offended the beast god? Longjie swallowed hard. The dragon ancestor shook his head. It shouldn't be. They can't possibly anger the beast god, because they are not qualified to anger the one at the volcano. Pay attention to the Red Moon Forest. The dragon ancestor's face was very solemn. Report to me at any time. Yes, ancestor. The masters of the four super sects, the Tatian sect, the Ancient Palace, the Feeling Sword sect, and the Matter sect, were riding on the Tatian sect's Yuhei Shenzhou, and were heading towards the True Dragon sect at a high speed. The Yuhei Shenzhou is the artifact level spaceship of the Tatian sect, and one of the two artifact level spaceships of the Dragon Empire. Its speed is so fast that many powerful people in the first level of the Divine Realm cannot catch up. Under the full speed of the Yuhei Shenzhou, the True Dragon sect was soon in sight. Looking at the distant gate of the True Dragon sect, Wu Peng's eyes were cold. After destroying the True Dragon sect, the Dragon Heart and Dragon Pill of the Tyrannosaurus Rex will belong to our Tatian sect. Wu Peng said, do you have any objections? Xiao Xiang, the ancestor of the spirit of the ancient god palace, smiled and said, of course. At that time, the dragon blood will belong to our ancient god palace, the dragon meat will belong to the Feeling Sword sect, and the dragon skin, dragon horns and dragon claws will belong to the Matter god sect. Afterwards, everyone began to discuss how to divide the treasures of the True Dragon sect. Although they haven't started yet, in their eyes, the True Dragon sect is already a fish on the chopping board. Everyone has even agreed that, after destroying the True Dragon sect, the 10,000 Dragons Divine Flame will belong to the Tatian sect, and Yangtze Ocean's Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire will belong to the Ancient God Palace. And Yangtze Ocean, we will take him away from the Tatian sect. Wu Peng said deliberately. He wanted to know how Yangtze Ocean controlled the Divine Fire, and condensed the Divine Golden Pill. Xiao Xiang and others could guess what Wu Peng was thinking, but the strength of the Tatian sect was there, and everyone had no objection. Finally, the Yuhei Divine Boat arrived in front of the gate of the True Dragon sect. At this time, the sky was not yet completely bright. Looking at the True Dragon sect disciples patrolling, a Saint Realm Elder of the Stepping Heaven sect flicked his hand, and saw hundreds of sword energy burst out. Suddenly, the disciples patrolling the True Dragon sect screamed, and fell from the sky. The masters of the four super sects swarmed out of the divine boat, scattered in all directions, and heavily blocked the True Dragon sect. In the distance, the disciples of the True Dragon sect were startled one after another. When they were about to rush out, Wu Peng slapped them down with a palm, and a palm that covered the sky, and the sun fell down. The True Dragon sect disciples who rushed over were all knocked to the ground. There was a loud bang. Hunan, Long Heo, Deng Han King, Liu Ping and others were discussing things in the hall. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and the hall was shaken, and they were all shocked. What's going on? Hunan was shocked, and flew out of the hall. Master, it's the Tatian sect. There are also the Ancient God Palace, the Fearing Sword sect, and the Maha God sect. An elder of the True Dragon God sect rushed over in panic, and said in a hurry, the 4 super sects have joined forces to kill us. The 4 super sects have joined forces to kill us? Hunan, Long Heo and others all changed their faces. How many people are here? Hunan asked in shock and anger. 17 gods. More than 1,000 saints. All of their saints. All the gods are here. The elder's voice trembled. The climax is coming, brothers. Chapter 260 Hand over Yangtze Ocean. 17 gods. More than 1,000 saints. All the saints and all the gods are out. When Hunan heard this, he felt his eyes darken. Long Heo and all the masters of the True Dragon sect were even more shocked, unable to tell the difference between north and south. Some elders even had trembling legs. All the saints and all the gods are out. This is the rhythm of destroying the sect. Thinking that the True Dragon sect will be destroyed soon, some elders looked pale. All masters of the True Dragon sect listened to the order, fully activate the mountain defense formation, and meet the enemy. Hunan suddenly roared, and the roar spread throughout the True Dragon sect. Boom. As Hunan's voice fell, the light of the mountain peaks shot up into the sky. These lights intertwined to form a large formation that enveloped the entire True Dragon sect. As soon as Hunan finished speaking, he soared into the sky, his whole body filled with sword energy, and rushed towards the mountain gate. Then he roared again, all disciples of the True Dragon Divine Sect, fight for me, and defend the mountain gate to the death. Anyone who dares to retreat in the face of battle will be executed, and their family will be held accountable. All will be executed, and their family will be held accountable. Sure enough, Hunan's words made many disciples who originally retreated in the face of battle give up the idea of luck. The ancestor Long Heo immediately followed Hunan and roared, all disciples, fight to the death. Anyone who dares to betray the sect will be decapitated, his heart will be cut off, his limbs will be broken, his soul will be imprisoned, and he will be suppressed in Prison Mountain forever. As Long Heo finished speaking, the elders, supreme elders, and ancestors of the True Dragon Divine Sect soared into the sky one by one, following Hunan and Long Heo. At this time, in the forbidden area of the True Dragon Sect, a divine power rose to the sky, and a vast divine power overwhelmed the heavens. Then, the roar of the dragon sounded, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex and Li Zhenking also broke through the air. Outside the True Dragon Sect, Wu Peng heard the roar of the dragon and laughed coldly. He was waiting for this Tyrannosaurus Rex. With the dragon heart of this Tyrannosaurus Rex, his strength could be further improved. Even if the heaven-stepping sword was not repaired, he could still suppress the dragon ancestor. And with the dragon pill of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, their ancient ancestors' injuries could be completely recovered. Then, they would be able to sweep across the Dragon Empire. At this time, the powerful people from all sides of the surrounding cities learned that the 4 major sects were attacking the True Dragon Sect, and they also rushed to the True Dragon Sect. No one wanted to miss such a shocking battle. Li Hongzheng, the owner of King Lian Tower, his son Li Jianghu, and his granddaughter Li Qian were nearby. When they heard the news, they were also shocked and rushed to the True Dragon Sect. The 4 major sects of the Tatian sect are going to besiege the True Dragon Sect. On the way, Li Han frowned. The True Dragon Sect is in danger. Li Jianghu also sighed. After today, the Dragon Empire may only have 9 super sects left. Li Qian was excited. She had never liked Yangtze Ocean, and had always hated him. Now that the 4 major sects wanted to destroy the True Dragon Sect, she was of course happy. If the True Dragon Sect was destroyed, Yangtze Ocean would definitely not be able to escape. Gu Xiaozhang, Lang Yi, Zhu Zuan, and Long Xingshan were traveling together nearby. When they heard the news, they also rushed to the True Dragon Sect. Yangtze Ocean, you are not dead this time. Zhu Zuan laughed wildly. At this time, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Li Zhenking, Hunan, Long Heo and others led the True Dragon Sect disciples to the mountain gate. Li Zhenking looked at Wu Peng, Tang Hong, and Xiao Xiang with a gloomy face, his eyes full of anger. Wu Peng, what do you want to do? Do you really think that our true dragon sect is easy to manipulate? Wu Peng smiled. Brother Zenking, don't be angry. We are here for no other purpose. Yang Zai killed many disciples from our 4 major sects. We just want you to hand over Yang Zai. As long as you hand over Yang Zai, we will leave immediately. This was what they had discussed on the way. As long as they insisted that Yang Zai killed the disciples of their 4 major sects, they would have a reason. Even if the True Dragon sect was destroyed by then, other sects would not be able to say anything. Hundreds of thousands of disciples of the True Dragon sect were in an uproar. Liu Ping immediately said angrily, I have said it before, Yang Zai is a troublemaker. He is now killing disciples from the 4 major sects and causing such a big disaster for the True Dragon Divine sect. What's the use of such a disciple, no matter how talented he is? We should have expelled him from the sect long ago. Liu Ping's words caused many disciples of the True Dragon Divine sect to be resentful. Yes, this is Yang Zai fault. It has nothing to do with us. Hand over Yang Zai. Li Zhenking sternly glanced at Liu Ping and the shouting disciples in the crowd. Hunan also stared at Liu Ping angrily. He didn't expect that his woman would be the first to stand up and instigate. Li Zhenking stared at Wu Peng coldly. Zai killed disciples from your 4 major sects? I wonder which disciples they were. Wu Peng avoided the question. You don't need to know which disciples they were. Hand over Yang Zai. In fact, today, whether the True Dragon Divine sect handed over Yang Zai or not, they would definitely destroy the True Dragon Divine sect. Yang Zai is just a cover. Of course, if the True Dragon Divine sect is willing to hand over Yang Zai, it would be even better. Yang Zai is a disciple of my True Dragon sect. All disciples of my True Dragon sect are obliged to protect him. Li Zhenking said, we will not hand him over to you. Wu Peng's eyes turned cold, and he suddenly said, kill. After that, he had a magic sword in his hand, which was the heavenly sword. He held the magic sword and suddenly slashed at Li Zhenking. Tang Hong, Xiao and other gods summoned their artifacts or semi-artifacts at the same time, and attacked at the same time. And all the saints of the 4 major sects of the heavenly sect also attacked at the same time. Suddenly, the boundless power of 17 gods and more than 1,000 saints roared out and flooded the True Dragon sect. 17 gods and more than 1,000 saints attacked at the same time. How terrifying is their power? Suddenly, the sky was dark and the earth was dark, as if the world was destroyed. The disciples of the True Dragon sect all changed color, with a look of horror on their faces. All disciples, attack. Use all your strength to operate the True Dragon formation. Li Zhenking roared, holding the magic sword and slashing at Wu Peng and others. The Tyrannosaurus Rex also roared and slapped out with its claws. Hunan, Long Hao, Liang Yafei and others attacked with all their strength. Boom. A devastating explosion. The sound waves spread for who knows how many miles. The strong men from all sides, who came from afar, were deafened by the explosion, and their internal organs were shaking. They all looked at this scene in horror. The aftermath of the terrifying power swept over, and some of the strong men from the sect who came over were unable to dodge, and were blown away. For a while, the sky was full of blood rain. Even Li Hong, Li Jianghu, and Li Qianqian who came over were also looking at this devastating blow in horror. The power of a god is terrifying, and more than a dozen gods attack at the same time. This scene is really shocking. Looking at the aftermath of the airwave that was bombarded, Li Hong slapped his palms continuously, but even so, he was still shocked and retreated again and again. And countless disciples of the True Dragon Divine sect were directly hit by the power, and flew out like locusts, and some weaker disciples were directly shocked. The Black Flood Dragon King, who had broken through the Saint Realm, took action in time, to protect everyone in the Huang family. Even so, Yang Chao, Huang Ying, and Yang Linga were shocked to the point of vomiting blood. Chapter 261 King Song is late. Even Hunan, Long Hao and other Saint Realm 10th layer, retreated under the impact of the terrifying force, with blood flowing from the corners of their mouths. Except for Li Zhenking and Tyrannosaurus Rex, all the disciples of the True Dragon Divine sect were injured in this attack. Long Hao was shocked. This was still protected by the power of the True Dragon formation, which blocked most of the power. Otherwise, the attack just now would have directly blown the True Dragon Divine sect away. Seeing this, Wu Peng sneered, "I wonder how many times you can block it." At this point, the sky-stepping divine sword in his hand slashed again. The sword energy of the sky-stepping divine sword burst out and blasted towards the true dragon divine sect. Tang Hong, Xiao Xiang and others attacked at the same time. 17 gods and more than 1,000 Saint Realm powerhouses. Their power did not decrease but increased, and they were stronger than before. The powerhouses from all sides in the distance were frightened and flew away. The sky-shaking loud noise sounded again. The terrifying power rolled. Everything around the true dragon divine sect was blown away, crushed, and turned into ashes. The majestic power that blocked the sun made the sky completely dark. After the second bombardment, Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others continued to bombard for the third time, the fourth time, and the fifth time. The light of the true dragon divine sect's mountain guarding formation became increasingly dim. Finally, after more than a dozen bombardments, the mountain guarding formation cracked and completely disintegrated. The disciples of the true dragon divine sect were directly exposed to the power of the 4 super sects, and were blown away one by one. The peaks and palaces collapsed, the earth was cracking, and the mountains and rivers were flowing backwards. Many spirit beasts turned into blood rain. Hunan, Long Hao and others were also blown away. However, just as Hunan was blown away, Liu Ping suddenly hit Hunan's back with a palm, knocking Hunan out again. Deng Hanqing also made a move and knocked Long Hao away with a palm. The sudden change caught everyone by surprise. Hunan glared at Liu Ping, opened his mouth, and spurted out a large mouthful of blood. Liu Ping and Deng Hanqing came to Wu Peng and said respectfully, "Ancestor." Wu Peng nodded. "You are from the Tatian sect?" Long Hao glared at Liu Ping and Deng Hanqing. "Yes, before we joined the True Dragon sect, we were from the Tatian sect." Liu Ping looked calm. Anyway, the True Dragon sect was going to be destroyed, and at this point, there was nothing wrong with admitting it. "You bitch." Hunan roared. Liu Ping sneered. "Hunan, don't worry, I will personally send you on your way later. As for my daughter, I will take good care of her." Huyu's face was pale, and many disciples of the True Dragon sect were stunned. Even Xiao Xiang and others from the ancient god palace were very surprised. They didn't expect that Liu Ping and Deng Hanqing would be from the Tatian sect. Just when Wu Peng was about to take action again and happily slaughter all the disciples of the True Dragon sect, suddenly, many people looked at the distance with surprised eyes. Wu Peng felt that everyone's expression was different and couldn't help but look in the direction. "I saw a young boy in a light blue brocade robe stepping into the air, stepping on a land-like flame under his feet, and 9 golden phoenixes wrapped around his body. The flames and earth waves rolled, and 9 golden phoenixes rose to the sky, shining brightly under the sunlight." Everyone was stunned by the handsome face of the young boy. Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Shen. No one expected that Yang Xiaoshan would appear at this time. Li Zhenqing was surprised to see Yang Xiaoshan, and shouted, "My dear, run away." Many sect masters who had just been hit by the aftermath of the air wave and wanted to vomit, cried out wow, and could no longer hold back, vomiting blood one after another. Li Han was also stunned. "I didn't expect that Li Zhenqing's my dear was so powerful that it could make so many sect masters vomit blood instantly." Li Zhenqing's voice reached Yang Xiaoshan's ears, and even the flame of the earth under Yang Xiaoshan's feet trembled. Fortunately, Yang Xiaoshan's heart of Taoism was firm, otherwise he would have fallen down. Under the gaze of everyone, Yang Xiaoshan stepped on the flame of the earth and returned to the True Dragon Divine Sect. Seeing his parents, sister and a group of disciples of the True Dragon Sect injured, Yang Xiaoshan's face darkened, and he stared at Wu Peng, Tang Hong, Xiao Xiang and others. "You all deserve to die." Wu Peng laughed when he heard it. "What a pity, Yang Xiaoshan, you will be the one who dies today, and the True Dragon Sect will be destroyed today." Li Zhenqing glared at Yang Xiaoshan. "I told you to escape, didn't you hear me?" Yang Xiaoshan knew that Li Zhenqing was worried about him, and smiled. "Master Li, don't worry, I will be fine." Li Zhenqing heard it, and his beard trembled with anger. "Brother." At this time, Yang Linga came forward with tears in her eyes. "With brother here, nothing will happen." Yang Xiaoshan said comfortingly. "Nothing will happen. Deng Hanking chuckled. Yang Xiaoshan, you sound like you can protect your sister. If you don't know, you would think you are the best fighter in the Dragon Empire. At this time, Yu Yi stepped forward and said to Deng Hanking, Grandmaster, I'm willing to kill Yang Xiaoshan with my own hands, cut off Yang Xiaoshan's head, and hand it over to the Xianzang. Long Hao's face was grim, his eyes spitting fire. Evil disciple, how dare you? Then, more than a dozen inner disciples of the True Dragon sect stepped forward and said they were willing to kill Yang Xiaoshan with their own hands, cut off Yang Xiaoshan's head, and hand it over to the Xianzang. These inner disciples of the True Dragon sect are all very talented, all at the peak of the martial arts sect, and many are disciples taught by the elders. These elders all look grim. Deng Hanking looked at Wu Peng. Wu Peng looked at Yu Yi and the disciples who had joined him, and said with a smile, okay, I agree. Then he said to Yang Xiaoshan, Yang Xiaoshan, if you can win over the dozen disciples of your True Dragon sect, I will release your family. Not interested. Yang Xiaoshan said calmly. Hearing this, Yu Yi held a long sword and sneered. Not interested? Yang Xiaoshan, I don't think you dare, right? Having said that, he urged the power of the 6 strongest sword hearts, and was about to attack Yang Xiaoshan. At this moment, suddenly, in the distance, demonic energy rolled, and the monstrous demonic power came overwhelming. Everyone looked in shock. When they saw the people coming, everyone's face changed. Illusion Sea Demon Sect. Barefoot Old Demon. Why are these demons from the Illusion Sea Demon Sect here? What are they doing here? The True Dragon sect is about to be destroyed. Do they also want to get a piece of the pie? It's no wonder that the masters of the major sects would think so. After all, these demons from the Illusion Sea Demon sect have always been motivated by profit. Li Hang also frowned. I didn't expect that even the demons from the Fantasy Sea Demon cult would come, and the one who came was the Barefoot Old Demon. This time, the True Dragon sect will never recover. Under the gaze of everyone, the Barefoot Old Demon led 100,000 masters of the Fantasy Sea Demon cult to the scene. The Barefoot Old Demon walked towards Yang Xiaoshan. Seeing the Barefoot Old Demon approaching, Hunan and Long Hao's palms were sweating. After all, the Barefoot Old Demon was too famous, and was known as the #1 person under the gods of the demon cult. Moreover, his methods were extremely cruel, and countless human race strongmen died at his hands. Just when Li Zhenking was about to make a move, suddenly, the Barefoot Old Demon knelt on one knee and said to Yang Xiaoshan with a panicked face, Young Master, King Song is late. Forgive me, young master. King Song is late. Forgive me, young master. Everyone looked at the Barefoot Old Demon who was kneeling on one knee with a panicked face, and their minds stopped. The third update at 9 PM. Chapter 262. Is there anyone who is not afraid of death? The Barefoot Old Demon, who was known as the first person under the demon god, actually knelt on one knee in front of Yang Xiaoshan with a look of panic. And that panic was not pretended, but a real fear of Yang Xiaoshan. Everyone was stunned. What's going on? Li Qianqian's eyes were full of shock. The Barefoot Old Demon was an existence that even her grandfather Li Han was afraid of. Now, he knelt on one knee in front of Yang Xiaoshan with a look of fear, begging Yang Xiaoshan for forgiveness. Not only Li Qianqian couldn't understand, Li Han couldn't understand, and Hunan and others couldn't understand it. They couldn't understand why the Barefoot Old Demon, the first person under the demon god, was so afraid of Yang Xiaoshan. Of course, they couldn't understand the fear of Yang Xiaoshan that the Barefoot Old Demon, who was bombarded by Yang Xiaoshan 10 times with Shura power, had for Yang Xiaoshan. At this time, the Barefoot Old Demon's belly was shaking. Get up. Yang Xiaoshan said. Hearing Yang Xiaoshan's words, the Barefoot Old Demon was as if pardoned, and said with gratitude, Thank you, young master. Then he dared to get up. Looking at this magical scene, everyone looked at each other. Wu Peng looked at the Barefoot Demon, his face livid. Okay, very good. In that case, I will destroy the Fantasy Sea Demon sect today. Then he looked around and sneered. Is there anyone else who wants to stand up and ask Yang Xiaoshan for forgiveness? Just as Wu Peng finished speaking, many sect masters saw that from the direction where the Barefoot Demon came from, a dense crowd suddenly poured out again. When this large group of people appeared, everyone felt a terrible murderous aura. These murderous auras gathered together, like a murderous ocean, covering the sky and the earth. These people were all dressed in grey. Seeing these people, the faces of the masters of the major sects also changed. Killer building. The owner of the killer building, Xian Zhengai. What on earth is Xian Zhengai leading the killer building to go out? You know, it's a sky-high price to ask a killer from the killer building to take action once, not to mention that now all the tens of thousands of masters in the killer building are out. Who can be so generous and can invite tens of thousands of masters from the entire killer building? I'm afraid that even the Tatian sect can't invite them. Seeing tens of thousands of masters from the killer building rushing in, everyone panicked and retreated. For many people, the killers in the killer building were more terrifying than those old demons from the fantasy sea demon sect. Xian Zhengai led tens of thousands of masters from the killer building to the scene quickly. Under the gaze of everyone, Xian Zhengai walked towards Yangtze Ocean. Seeing Xian Zhengai walking towards Yangtze Ocean, everyone thought of a possibility at the same time. Li Qian stammered, "Impossible." But as soon as she finished speaking, she saw Xian Zhengai, like the barefoot old demon, kneeling on one knee, and said respectfully, "Sir, Xian Zhengai has arrived with the killer building. All the masters of the killer building are waiting for your orders." Everyone was stunned. Xian Zhengai led all the killers in the killer building to go out, just to wait for Yangtze Ocean's orders. Why on earth? Xian Zhengai is the owner of the killer building. Even the Tatian sect cannot subdue the killer building. But now, Xian Zhengai is willing to serve Yangtze Ocean. And this battle may be a fight to the death. Maybe the entire killer building will die here. But Xian Zhengai knew that he might die here in this battle, and still led all the masters of the killer building. Why? Li Qian couldn't accept what she saw. Whether it was the barefoot old demon or the owner of the killer building, Xian Zhengai, their status and position were no lower than her grandfather. Why would they be willing to work for Yangtze Ocean? No matter how talented Yangtze Ocean was, he was just a small martial arts master. Li Qian couldn't figure it out, and the other masters couldn't figure it out either. Wu Peng saw that Xian Zhengai actually led all the killers of the killer building to help Yangtze Ocean, and laughed angrily. Good. Very good. In this case, I will destroy the killer building today. After today, the killer building will no longer exist. At this point, he looked around. Is there anyone who is not afraid of death and wants to wait for Yangtze Ocean's orders? He didn't believe that there was anyone who was not afraid of death and wanted to stand up and wait for Yangtze Ocean's orders. But just as he finished speaking, suddenly, a surging sea of blood appeared in the distant sky. The blood was rolling and looked very scary. Tens of thousands of swordsmen were standing on the sea of blood. Each swordsman was carrying a blood sword. The blood swords were filled with aura. Each swordsman was tenacious and had an unyielding fighting spirit. The Jade Blood Sect. The Blood Prison Swordsman. Seeing the Blood Prison Swordsman leading tens of thousands of swordsmen from the Jade Blood Sect flying over, everyone was shocked and had complicated expressions. Could it be that the Blood Prison Swordsman was leading tens of thousands of swordsmen from the Jade Blood Sect to come here as well? Chen Fang led the Jade Blood Sect to come here and wait for the young master's orders. Under the gaze of everyone, the Blood Prison Swordsman came to Yangtze Ocean, knelt on one knee, and said respectfully. Seeing that the Blood Prison Swordsman led tens of thousands of swordsmen from the Jade Blood Sect to wait for Yangtze Ocean's orders, everyone didn't know what to say for a while. Wu Peng and the masters of the 4 super sects looked unhappy. The 3 major forces of the Phantom Sea Demon sect, the Killer Building, and the Jade Blood sect, even the 10 super sects dared not ignore them. Although the barefoot old demon, Xian Zhengai and others are not gods, if the 3 major forces fight to the death, they will be enough to kill many saints from the 4 super sects. Wu Peng's face was as gloomy as water. He looked around and said coldly, is there anyone who is not afraid of death and wants to wait for Yangtze Ocean's orders? Get out. Just saying this, his voice was a little unnatural, for fear that someone who is not afraid of death would appear again. When Wu Peng finished speaking, suddenly, the sword energy in the distance surged into the sky, and tens of thousands of swordsmen flew over with swords. Damn it. Thousand Snake Villa. No way. Seeing tens of thousands of swordsmen from Thousand Snake Villa flying swords appeared, everyone was dumbfounded. Even Wu Peng, who had just finished speaking, was dumbfounded. Really coming? Thousand Snake Villa may not be here to help Yangtze Ocean. An ancestor in the crowd shook his head. Thousand Snake Villa has been hidden from the world for many years. He didn't believe that even Thousand Snake Villa would come to wait for Yangtze Ocean's orders. He young led the disciples of Cunning Villa to come here, just waiting for the young master's orders. The Thousand Snake Sword Master came to Yangtze Ocean and knelt on one knee like the 3 barefoot old demons before. Wu Peng, Tang Hong, Zhao Xiang and others looked ugly. Is this his confidence and reliance? Li Qian murmured. The saints of the 4 major forces, the Fantasy Sea Demon Sect, the Killer Building, the Jade Blood Sect, and the Thousand Snake Villa, have completely surpassed the saints of the Heaven Stepping Sect. This is too against the will of heaven. Some family ancestors saw that the Fantasy Sea Demon Sect, the Killer Building, the Jade Blood Sect, and the Thousand Snake Villa all served Yangtze Ocean, and they could not hide their shock. It is extremely difficult to get any of the 4 major forces to serve, let alone let the 4 major forces serve at the same time. But why would the 4 major forces serve Yangtze Ocean at the same time? They really couldn't figure it out. At this time, Wu Peng, with an ugly face, roared, "Are there any people who are not afraid of death and want to serve Yangtze Ocean? Get out, get out." Chapter 263 Lord Long is nearby. When Wu Peng finished speaking, everyone was extremely nervous. Even Wu Peng, Zhao Xiang and other gods and ancestors of the 4 super sects were very nervous, fearing that some fearless force would emerge. However, this time when Wu Peng finished speaking, the surroundings were calm. For a long time, no sect appeared again. Seeing this, Wu Peng's heart finally fell. As long as no more sects and forces emerge, it will be fine. If there are only the Fantasy Sea Demon Sect, the Killer Building, the Jade Blood Sect, and the Thousand Snake Villa, everything is still under their control. Yangtze Ocean, is this what you rely on? Wu Peng looked at Yangtze Ocean and sneered. You really surprised me. But, unfortunately, the Fantasy Sea Demon Sect, the Killer Building, the Jade Blood Sect, and the Thousand Snake Villa can't protect you. You will still die today, and they will also be buried with you. The True Dragon Sect, your family, and your sister will also be crushed to death by me. Nothing can be changed. Wu Peng laughed wildly. However, just as Wu Peng's arrogant laughter resounded through the sky, suddenly, Li Hong, Li Qian and others saw that above the 9 heavens, dense divine thunder appeared. The terrifying power of divine thunder instantly enveloped the world. Wu Peng and Tang Hong also looked up in shock and saw the millions of divine thunders covering 100 miles above the 9 heavens. Tai Divine Thunder, Taixio Divine Thunder, Hulan Divine Thunder, Ziwei Divine Thunder. Even the gods and ancestors of the 4 super sects changed their faces when they saw these divine thunders. Each of these divine thunders is enough to threaten the strong men in the divine realm. How can there be so many divine thunders? Li Qian trembled. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw millions of divine thunder suddenly fall down like a raging flood, and all fell on the heads of the 4 super sects. Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others were shocked and shouted, "Retreat quickly." At the same time, Wu Peng slashed out with the heavenly sword in his hand. One sword crossed the sky, one sword separated yin and yang, and one sword cut through heaven and earth. But it was useless. There were too many thousands of divine thunders. Even if Wu Peng's sword was strong, he couldn't cut off all the divine thunders. Tang Hong, Zhao Xiang and others attacked one after another. The saints of the 4 super sects were terrified and attacked frantically. Suddenly, a terrifying force roared up. However, just as thousands of divine thunders fell, everyone saw 2 giant legs stretched out in the void. Everyone couldn't describe how big these giant legs were. These 2 giant legs, carrying the thunder force that destroyed the world, bombarded the saints of the 4 super sects. Then, the masters of the 4 super sects saw a 1,000-foot giant tail flashing with amazing lightning, sweeping across. This giant tail was abnormally thick, and the 9-day divine thunder kept coming out. In an instant, it swept across the saints of the 4 super sects. Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu and others were all shocked, and punched out, trying to block the giant tail. Boom. Boom. The loud explosions continued to sound. The terrifying divine thunder power flooded the world. The mountains in the distance were hit by one of the divine thunders and turned into ashes in an instant. The masters of the various sects in the distance fled in horror. Some of the masters who escaped slowly were hit by the aftermath of the divine thunder and fell on the distant mountains, vomiting blood. Even Li Han was so scared that he took Li Jianghu and Li Qian to use the escape technique of the Kinglian restaurant to escape. Under the shroud of the terrifying divine thunder, many saintly ancestors of the four super sects, such as Zhao Jinsao and Jiu Wu, were blown away. Wu Peng, Tang Hang and other gods and spirits were also shocked to the point that their arms were numb and their blood was boiling. The masters from all sides were horrified. In the sky full of thunder and light, everyone saw a giant beast like the ancient sacred mountain flying out of the void. Beast God. Sky Blue Thunder Python. Seeing this giant beast with terrifying thunder all over its body, everyone was horrified. No one expected that the beast god Sky Blue Thunder Python would suddenly appear and suddenly attack the masters of the four super sects. Even Wu Peng, Tang Hang and others did not expect it. Wu Peng looked at the flying azure thunder python with fear. He did not expect that after its bloodline returned to its ancestral form, the azure thunder python would be so strong. He originally thought that, even if the azure thunder python's bloodline returned to its ancestral form and evolved into a super beast, it would be at most half a point stronger than him, but the attack just now was more than half a point stronger. Beast God, didn't the azure thunder python say that it was subdued by Lord Long? Could it be that Lord Long is here too? Is he nearby? An old ancestor of the sect said in a trembling voice. Lord Long. Everyone's heart was beating wildly when they heard the words of the old ancestor of the sect. At this time, everyone had not thought too much. Wu Peng took a deep breath, stepped forward and clasped his fists and said, "Greetings to the Beast God. I wonder if our four major sects have offended Lord Beast God or Lord Long." He said, "We absolutely have no intention of offending Lord Beast God and Lord Long." Everyone held their breath and looked at the azure thunder python. No offense. The azure thunder python looked at Wu Peng indifferently with eyes as big as thunder lakes and then flew towards the true dragon sect. Everyone was puzzled when they saw the azure thunder python flying towards the true dragon sect. Li Zhenqing and Tyrannosaurus Rex were extremely nervous when they saw the beast god azure thunder python flying towards them. "Meet the beast god." Li Zhenqing and Tyrannosaurus Rex hurried forward and said. But they saw the azure thunder python flying past Li Zhenqing and Tyrannosaurus Rex and flying towards Yangtze Ocean. Everyone was surprised to see the azure thunder python flying directly towards Yangtze Ocean. Wu Peng, Tang Hang and other four super sect masters were also stunned. The azure thunder python was getting closer and closer to Yangtze Ocean. Seeing the azure thunder python getting closer and closer to Yangtze Ocean, Li Qian suddenly had a terrifying idea in her mind. Her pretty face changed drastically, and her voice couldn't help trembling. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. But as soon as she finished speaking, she saw the azure thunder python coming to Yangtze Ocean and said, "Young master. Young master." This voice was even more terrifying than the nine heavens divine thunder just now. It was even more huge. It shocked Wu Peng, Tang Hang, Zhao Jinsao, Jiu Wu and others. All the powerful men of the sect were shocked. Li Hong, the owner of the Kinglian restaurant, was also shocked. Impossible. The ancestors of the sects screamed. At this time, Yangtze Ocean flew up and landed on the mountain-like head of the sky blue thunder python, standing against the wind. At this moment, everyone's eyes fell on the small figure in the light blue brocade robe. The sunlight shone on the little face, so bright. Time seemed to stop at this moment. The airflow seemed to be completely stagnant there. The world was so quiet. Gu Xiaozhang, Long Xingshan, Zhu Zuan, and Lan Yi, who had previously opposed Yangtze Ocean, were all scared to the point of rippling. Lord Long, the ancestor of the sect who had previously guessed that Lord Long might be nearby, looked at Yangtze Ocean with a pale face, his eyes full of shock. Since the battle in the Blue Sea, everyone has been guessing the identity of Lord Long, guessing that Lord Long might be a powerful god who never came out of the world. However, no one knows who the mysterious Lord Long is. At this moment, everyone connected the mysterious Lord Long with the light blue figure in front of them. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel. Mundo fanfic novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264. Sir, I'm late. Everyone was so shocked that they could not speak for a long time. No one spoke, only the murmuring of ZHU Zuan and others. Yu Yi, who had just challenged Yang Xiaoshan and wanted to cut off Yang Xiaoshan's head, was murmuring even more. Wu Peng also did not speak. At this moment, he could not describe his mood in words. He did not expect that the Lord Long, whom they had been looking for and wanted to seek an alliance with, was actually the young man in front of him who controlled the divine fire and condensed the divine golden elixir. It was Yang Xiaoshan, who he just wanted to crush to death. Yang Xiaoshan was Lord Long. He couldn't believe it, couldn't accept it. After a long time, the masters of the 4 super sects came back to their senses. However, Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu Wu and others did not dare to move. Everyone looked at Wu Peng. Wu Peng looked at the sky blue thunder python in front of him, which was like an ancient sacred mountain. His eyes flickered, he gritted his teeth, and roared fiercely, "Kill! Destroy the true dragon divine sect! Kill the sky blue thunder python! Then, our 4 major sects will divide its flesh and blood." There are 17 powerful gods in their 4 major sects. The Azure Thunder Python, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Li Zhenqing were only 3 great gods. He just didn't believe that the 17 powerful gods couldn't kill a Azure Thunder Python. Although the Azure Thunder Python was terrifying, its flesh and blood was also a supreme treasure. This was a super beast. The flesh and blood, dragon pills, dragon horns, and dragon claws of a super beast were all priceless treasures. Hearing Wu Peng's order, the 4 super sect masters rushed up and were about to take action. At this moment, suddenly, a thunderous roar of the beast sounded, which made everyone's eardrums hurt. A terrifying divine power once again enveloped the world. This divine power was so strong that it even overshadowed the divine power of the Azure Thunder Python. Wu Peng, Tang Hang and others looked up in horror and saw thousands of ice blue snow pillars falling wildly from the sky. Retreat! Wu Peng screamed in fear again, and the sky-stepping divine sword in his hand slashed wildly. Tang Hang, Xiao Xiang and others were shocked and attacked again. In the void, 2 huge beast legs stretched out. The 2 beast legs were several times bigger than the dragon legs of the Azure Thunder Python. The 2 beast legs stepped down on the more than 1,000 saints of the 4 super sects. When the beast legs stepped down, the ice blue flames covered the sky and the earth, trying to engulf the masters of the 4 super sects. Before the ice blue flames fell, the masters of the 4 super sects seemed to be in an underground magma world, and their souls seemed to be frozen. Li Hang saw the overwhelming ice blue flames. His face changed drastically, and he said in a trembling voice, "That person is coming." Then he pulled Li Jianghu and Li Qianqian back frantically. "Retreat quickly. That person is coming." The ancestors of the major sects looked at the overwhelming ice blue flames and thought of that person. They screamed in fear and pulled the disciples of the sect back frantically. When Li Hang and the masters of the major sects retreated frantically, there were loud explosions. The sword energy of Wu Peng and others collided with thousands of ice blue snow pillars. The sword energy shot violently, and the snow pillars exploded. The ice blue fragments flew like snow rain, hitting the surrounding mountains. One mountain after another collapsed, and then condensed into ice. Everything around the mountain was burned into nothingness by the ice blue flames. Seeing the terrifying power of the ice blue snow pillar, the masters of the major sects were all scared. In the eyes of the people, a huge unicorn with a body no smaller than the sky blue thunder python and ice blue flames all over its body appeared in the void. When the huge unicorn appeared, its divine power swept across the world violently. Everyone had difficulty breathing. The masters of the 4 super sects were the first to bear the brunt, as if their throats were pinched by an invisible force. Wu Peng, Xiao Xiang and others were fine, but Zhao Jinzhao, Jiushan and other saints were suffocated by this violent divine power. Beast God. Ice Flame Unicorn. Everyone looked at the huge unicorn in the sky above Jiushan, and took a breath. Although the sky blue thunder python is also a beast god, it only returned to its ancestor later. For everyone, the Ice Flame Unicorn is the real beast god. The reputation of the Ice Flame Unicorn is undoubtedly greater than that of the Sky Blue Thunder Python. The Ice Flame Kirin walked down from the sky step by step. The mighty divine power was like an invisible wave, swallowing the sky and the earth. Wu Peng, Tang Hang and others were all nervous. The Ice Flame Kirin actually broke through the realm of the gods. In the past, although Huashan was feared, it was not enough to frighten Wu Peng, because the Ice Flame Kirin had never broken through the realm of the gods before. But now, it has broken through the realm of the gods. However, Wu Peng was shocked and furious. He really couldn't understand why Huashan suddenly attacked them, because they had never offended Huashan before. At this time, under the gaze of everyone, the Ice Flame Kirin walked towards the Azure Thunder Python step by step. Seeing the Ice Flame Kirin walking towards the Azure Thunder Python, many people held their breath, not blinking for a moment. Huashan has always been at odds with the Azure Thunder Python. They had a shocking battle a few days ago. This time, Huashan came to fight with the Azure Thunder Python. An old ancestor of the sect guest, Tang Hang, Xiao Xiang and others were all excited. Obviously, they also thought that Bingayan Kilin was here to kill Shine King Thunder Python. Judging from the strength that Bingayan Kilin showed just now, Bingayan Kilin was obviously stronger than Shine King Thunder Python. At that time, Shine King Thunder Python would definitely lose. Therefore super sects can reap the benefits. Li Zeng King and Tyrannosaurus Rex were also very nervous. Bingayan Kilin suddenly stopped before Shine King Thunder Python. Just when Wu Peng and others thought that Bingayan Kilin was going to attack, they suddenly heard Bingayan Kilin say to Yang Xiaoshan, "Young master, I'm late. Young master, I'm late." This sentence made everyone's hair stand on end, shocked everyone, and made the masters of the four super sects stagger and make the gurgling sound of Zhu Zuan, Gu Xiaozang and others' crotches even louder. Wu Peng, Tang Hang, and Xiao Xiang felt like they were having a stroke. Yang Linger and others were also stunned. At this time, Yang Linger finally understood why her brother had just told her that nothing would happen. Li Hang and Li Qianqian's minds were filled with shock as they watched the Ice Flame Kirin bow his head and stand in front of Yang Xiaoshan. Li Hang couldn't help but recall that he had asked Yang Xiaoshan to give up the 6th Heaven Tribulation Thunder Water at the auction. He didn't think there was anything wrong with it before, but now he was covered in cold sweat. As for Li Qianqian, her face turned pale and then blue, alternating between blue and white. At this moment, everyone looked at Yang Xiaoshan as if they were looking at an almighty terror. An almighty terror even more terrifying than the dragon ancestor. Yang Xiaoshan's robes fluttered in the wind. He looked at the Ice Flame Kirin in front of him and said, "Kill. Kill." This sound made everyone's heart tremble. Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu Wu and others only felt their eyes darken. As Yang Xiaoshan gave the order to kill, everyone saw the Ice Flame Kirin let out a long roar. As the long roar fell, the ground suddenly shook violently. Then, everyone saw a group of mythical beasts appear in the distant sky. Giant golden ape, 6-winged flying snake, 2-headed devil tiger. One after another, the mythical beasts that were rarely seen were rushing towards this side at an astonishing speed. Behind these mythical beasts were tens of millions of ferocious beasts. Chapter 265, Shocking Battle. What kind of scene would it be like when tens of beasts led tens of beasts and tens of thousands of beasts rushed forward? The surging force was like a surging wave. Under the trampling of tens of thousands of beasts, the mountains were shaking, and the earth was cracking. Even though they were far away, everyone's faces changed drastically. It's a beast tide. It's a beast tide of tens of millions. An old ancestor of a sect was so scared that his face turned pale. Before, when he was in the Red Moon Forest, Yang Xiaoshan encountered a beast tide. The power that shook the world was enough to knock everything in front of him away, smash it, and turn it into powder. However, the beast tide that Yang Xiaoshan encountered that time was only hundreds of thousands of beasts. And now, it is tens of millions of beasts. Tens of millions of beasts are running wildly at the same time. How terrifying and powerful is that power? Even gods like Wu Peng, Tang Hang, and Xiao Xiang changed their faces. Although they are powerful gods and are not afraid of the beast tide, if the saintly elders, the supreme elders and even the 10th level saintly ancestors under their command are hit by the beast tide, they will definitely explode. Although the saintly realm is strong, it can never withstand the impact of the beast tide. Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu Wu and other ancestors looked at the beast tide rushing from the sky, and their legs trembled. However, just when everyone thought that Wu Peng would retreat, suddenly, Wu Peng roared and whistled, "Masters of the 4 major sects, listen to my order. Kill Yangzai Ocean. Kill the Sky Blue Thunder Python and the Ice Flame Kirin. Kill the 2 beast gods, and divide their flesh and blood. Kill all the disciples of the True Dragon sect." Wu Peng looked ferocious, stepped into the air, and stabbed Yangzai Ocean with the heavenly sword in his hand. This sword was his full strength. Under the infusion of his divine power, the sword of the heavenly sword sputtered and pointed directly at Yangzai Ocean. He knew that, if he didn't kill Yangzai Ocean at this moment, he would never have the chance to kill Yangzai Ocean again in the future. Yangzai Ocean is just a martial master, but he is already so terrifying. If Yangzai Ocean continues to grow, in a few years, there will be no more for the Tatian sect. No matter what, he must kill Yangzai Ocean first today. As long as Yangzai Ocean is killed, it will be worth it, even if there are many saint realms lost in this battle. Tang Hong, Xiao Xiang and others reacted and stabbed Yangzai Ocean with swords. 17 powerful gods attacked at the same time, and the power was so great that it was earth-shattering. It seemed that the space was about to be cut into countless pieces by their sword energy, and countless miles of space were turbulent. Seeing Wu Peng, Tang Hong, Xiao Xiang and others attacking Yangzai Ocean, the powerful people from all sides were shocked. A shocking battle. The ancestors of each sect were extremely shocked. 17 gods, fighting against 2 beast gods. This shocking battle is unprecedented. Since the establishment of the Dragon Empire, there has never been such a shocking battle. This battle will be enough to be remembered in the history of the empire. It will be enough to shock the major empires. Li Han was also dry in the mouth. Everyone's heart was in their throat. Boom. I saw the Ice Flame Kirin and the Azure Thunder Python both attacking. The Ice Flame Kirin's entire body was covered in ice blue flames, which turned into an ice blue sea of fire. The Azure Thunder Python's entire body was covered in thunder and lightning, which turned into a sea of thunder. The 2 beast gods attacked at the same time, and the ice blue sea of fire and the sea of thunder bombarded Wu Peng, Tang Hong and the 17 others. Li Zhenqing also roared, "All True Dragon Divine Sect disciples, listen up and start the True Dragon formation with all your strength." After saying that, he struck out with a long sword in his hand. The Tyrannosaurus Rex's huge dragon claws also slapped Wu Peng and the others. "Start the True Dragon formation." Hunan roared. As the True Dragon formation was activated again, the moment the light of the formation rushed up, the Ice Flame Kirin, Wu Peng and the others collided with each other. The sky shaking, loud noises came one after another. Everyone felt that the world suddenly twitched and paused. Under this blow, the world seemed to be torn apart. Even though the masters of the major sects had retreated far enough, they were still bombarded by this blow, and their heads were buzzing, and they felt as if their whole bodies were about to be blown away. Everyone was shocked. I saw the sword energy rising up in the sky, wantonly, the power of ice, the power of fire, and the power of thunder covering the sky. The sky was dark, and the sky seemed to have briefly entered the dark abyss. Seeing such a majestic power, even Li Hong, the owner of Kinglian Tower, turned pale. He claimed to be unparalleled in swordsmanship, and he could fight, even if he met a demigod. But when faced with the power of the Ice Flame Kirin, the Sky Blue Thunder Python, Wu Peng and others, he realized how small he was. Under the impact of the power of the Ice Flame Kirin, Wu Peng and others, even Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu Wu and other saints were blown away. The True Dragon formation was also impacted and dimmed again. In the formation, the disciples of the True Dragon sect were also shaken and flew. Fortunately, there was the power of the formation to resist. Otherwise, this attack would have killed many disciples of the True Dragon sect. And the Ice Flame Kirin, the Sky Blue Thunder Python, Li Zhenqing, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex were also shocked and retreated again and again. Although the Ice Flame Kirin and Sky Blue Thunder Python were stronger than Wu Peng and Tang Hong, they only had 4 great gods, while the other side had 17 great gods. So in the battle, the Ice Flame Kirin and the other 4 were at an absolute disadvantage. Li Zhenqing and Tyrannosaurus Rex even had blood flowing from their mouths. Wu Peng saw that he had repelled the ice flame Kirin and the other 4 with one blow and roared again, "Kill them." He swung the sky-stepping divine sword in his hand and millions of sword ki burst out. The 2 beast gods, Ice Flame Kirin and Sky Blue Thunder Python, roared to the sky and rushed forward again. Yang Zai Ocean's body was covered with runes like the shell of a black tortoise at this time. Under the absolute defense of the black tortoise divine beast martial spirit, he was still shocked by the power of Wu Peng and others and vomited blood. He knew that with his current strength, he could not participate in the battle of gods, so he retreated to the true dragon formation. At this time, the power of Ice Flame Kirin, Wu Peng and others collided again. The disciples of the true dragon divine sect were constantly repelled and vomited blood. Hunan shouted, "All disciples, set up the sword formation and defend the true dragon formation." One by one, the true dragon sect disciples began to line up, their strength gathered, and the sword energy soared into the sky. However, just after Wu Peng and others made their third move, the 10 million beast tide finally rushed over. Kill. The 2 beast gods, Ice Flame Kirin and Sky Blue Thunder Python, roared, and the 10 million beast tide split into 2. It turned into 2 beast tide torrents, which were entangled around the Ice Flame Kirin and Sky Blue Thunder Python respectively. When the Ice Flame Kirin and Sky Blue Thunder Python attacked again, the power of the 2 beast tide torrents was seen to be combined and blasted towards Wu Peng, Tang Hang and others at the same time. Everyone saw that Wu Peng, Tang Hang and others, who had originally had an absolute upper hand, were actually blasted back. Instead, they fell behind. The masters of the major sects were shocked when they saw this scene. Everyone did not expect that the power of the 10 million beast tide could be used in this way. The power of the 10 million beast tides gathered, so strong. Li Hang exclaimed. The Ice Flame Kirin only had 4 great spirits, and their power was at an absolute disadvantage. However, after joining the power of the millions of beasts, they gained the upper hand. "Father, who do you think will win this battle?" Li Jianghu swallowed. Chapter 266. Forbidden Spell. Li Hang shook his head and said nothing. The existence of the Ice Flame Kirin was beyond their imagination. Feeling the devastating power of the Ice Flame Kirin and the Azure Thunder Python, Li Hang was shocked. He looked in the direction of Yangtze Ocean, his face complicated, and sighed, "We are blind." At this time, the barefoot old demon, Xian Zhengai, the blood prison swordsman, and the Thousand Snake Sword Master also led their masters to fight with Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu Wu and others. To be precise, it was the Fantasy Sea Demon Cult, the Killer Building, the Jade Blood Cult, and the Thousand Snake Villa. Hundreds of thousands of masters surrounded and killed more than 1,000 saints from the 4 super sects. The barefoot old demon, Zhao Jinzhao and others fought fiercely. Although their power was not as strong as that of the Ice Flame Kirin, Wu Peng and others, they also reversed the world, reversed the yin and yang, and broke the universe. With a punch from the barefoot old demon, the demon flames rolled, blasting through countless mountains, and flattening countless forests. The Blood Hell Swordsman swung his sword, and the blood sword energy turned into a rolling sea of blood. The sword energy slaughtered hundreds of millions of lives, just like the Blood Hell descended. The strong men from all sides were excited, surging, shocked, and pale. The power of the Ice Flame Kirin, the Azure Thunder Python, Wu Peng and others alarmed one kingdom after another, and submerged one imperial city after another. The great formation of one imperial city after another was opened. Countless strong men trembled. Imperial capital. Long Jie and Long Lan also knew about the shocking battle of the True Dragon sect. When they learned that Yangtze Ocean was the mysterious Lord Long, and that the Ice Flame Kirin, the Azure Thunder Python, the Fantasy Sea Demon sect, the Killer Building, the Jade Blood sect and the Thousand Snake Villa all surrendered to Yangtze Ocean, they were so shocked that they couldn't speak for a long time. Soon, this battle alarmed the entire Dragon Empire. The news that the 4 super sects of the Tatian sect, the Ancient Palace, the Fearing Sword sect, and the Matter sect, the 17 gods, fought against the 2 beast gods spread, and the Dragon Empire was boiling. Soon, shocking auras flew up from Xianshan Temple, Kingsu sect, and Xianshan Pavilion. A shocking battle. Hurry to the True Dragon sect. Almost all the strong men in the entire Shenlong Empire rushed to the True Dragon sect at full speed. Some wanted to fish in troubled waters, some wanted to make things more chaotic, and some simply wanted to watch the battle. After all, such a shocking battle is rare in 10,000 years. Not long after, tens of thousands of figures also soared into the sky above the imperial capital and rushed to the True Dragon sect at a high speed. It was Long Jie and Long Lan who led the Shenlong army. The Shenlong army is the strongest army in the Shenlong Empire. It's the Shenlong army. When seeing Long Jie and Long Lan leading the Shenlong army, the faces of the strong men in the imperial capital changed drastically. The Shenlong army has not left the imperial capital for thousands of years, right? The last time the Shenlong army left the imperial capital was more than 3,000 years ago. Some of the ancestors of the sects were shocked. Without a major event, the dragon army would not leave the imperial capital. When Long Jie and Long Lan led the dragon army to arrive, Wu Peng and others from the True Dragon sect became more and more frightened. They had never expected that the Ice Flame Kirin and the Azure Thunder Python would be so powerful after being assisted by the power of the 10 million beast tide. Originally, they had an absolute upper hand, but when the Ice Flame Kirin and the Azure Thunder Python had the power of the 10 million beast tide, they were forced to retreat continuously. The power of the 10 million beast tide was like an endless ocean, merging into a whole. The more they fought, the more angry they became. Wu Peng glanced at Zhao Jinzhao and others who were surrounded and killed by the four major forces of the Illusion Sea Demon cult in the distance. He saw that Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu Wu and others who were struggling to support were in danger, and most of them were already injured, and some were even lying there. If the battle continued, more saints from the four major sects would inevitably perish. Wu Peng was even more furious when he saw this. He angrily looked at Yang Xiaoshan in the True Dragon formation, swung his sword, and shouted, "Stop them." Then he turned into a sword light and stabbed Yang Xiaoshan in the formation directly. In this battle, he vowed to kill Yang Xiaoshan. When Wu Peng made his move, Tang Hong, Xiao Xiang and others attacked the Ice Flame Kirin and the Sky Blue Thunder Python with all their strength, trying to stop the Ice Flame Kirin and the Sky Blue Thunder Python. As long as they blocked the Ice Flame Kirin and the Sky Blue Thunder Python for a while, Wu Peng could kill Yang Xiaoshan. Seeing that Wu Peng's sword energy was about to pass through the True Dragon formation and hit Yang Xiaoshan, suddenly, a cold voice rang out, "Ice the Nine Realms." I saw the sky full of ice blue light swallowing Wu Peng at a terrifying speed. Seeing the sky full of ice blue light, Wu Peng was startled, and the sky sword in his hand slashed out, and millions of sword energy slashed towards the ice blue light. But it was useless. His millions of sword energy was constantly frozen by the ice blue light. The speed of the ice blue light did not decrease. Seeing this, Wu Peng was furious. Forbidden Spell Technique. Forbidden Spell Technique is a supernatural power. It is a power that only super beasts can exert. Wu Peng was shocked and flew back repeatedly. Seeing this, Tang Hong, Xiao Xiang and others attacked the ice blue light. Under the power of the four major sects of the Tatian sect, the ice blue light of the Ice Flame Kirin finally dissipated. Even so, Wu Peng was still in shock. The forbidden spell technique of the super beast was even more terrifying than he imagined. If Tang Hong and others had not joined forces just now, he might not have been able to dodge it. Thunder explosion. Just when Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others had just blocked the ice blue light of the Ice Flame Kirin, suddenly, a cold voice sounded from the mouth of the Sky Blue Thunder Python. I saw the sky full of divine thunder falling from the 9 heavens to Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others. When these divine thunders fell, they suddenly exploded. Wu Peng, Tang Hong and others changed their faces. This thunder explosion was the forbidden spell technique of the Sky Blue Thunder Python. Retreat. Having just experienced the horror of the forbidden spell of Bingan Kilin, Wu Peng retreated with Tang Hong and others without thinking. As soon as they retreated, they saw the power of the thunder explosion hitting the ground. In an instant, the thunder light was steaming, and the ground within a radius of 100 miles was blown away. Brother Wu Peng, let's retreat first. Xiao Xiang, the god ancestor of the ancient god palace, couldn't help but said. Wu Peng looked over and saw that the gods and ancestors of Fulong Sword Sect and Maha God Sect also showed timidity on their faces. He sighed in his heart and knew that he couldn't kill Yang Xiaoshan if he continued to fight. Retreat. He roared. No matter how unwilling he was, he could only retreat now. At this point, he suddenly slashed at the barefoot old demon with a sword. For the barefoot old demon, he had a strong killing intent. However, as soon as he slashed the sword, it was blocked by Bing and Killin. Seeing this, Wu Peng could only fly away. Zhao Jinzhao, Jiu Wu and others had long lost the heart to fight again. Seeing this, they broke through the siege and fled. Of course, Bing and Killin and Shine King Thunder Python did not miss the opportunity and attacked the 4 major sects. In the end, the 4 major sects left dozens of corpses. The masters of the major sects were all sighing when they saw this result. Who would have thought that the 4 major sects of the Tatian sect joined forces and were defeated and fled? However, everyone looked at Bing and Killin and Shine King Thunder Python with fear in their eyes. Young master, should we go directly to the Tatian sect? Bing and Killin returned to Yang Zai Ocean and said murderously. Chapter 267 Return to Shenhe Kingdom. Kill to the Tatian sect. Everyone's heart beat wildly when they heard the murderous words of Bing and Killin. Yang Zai Ocean looked at the destroyed Zhenlong Shenzang, and his heart was filled with anger. He came to his parents. Father, mother, how are you? We are fine. Yang Chao and Huang shook their heads. Just now, they and Yang Linga had swallowed the elixir, and their injuries were not serious. Knowing that his family members were not seriously injured, Yang Zai Ocean turned his head to look at the direction where Wu Peng and others fled, and said coldly, kill. At this point, he jumped up and landed on the head of the Azure Thunder Python. The Azure Thunder Python took Yang Zai Ocean up into the sky. Bing and Killin followed closely behind. Tens of millions of beasts, the Fantasy Sea Demon sect, the Killer Building, the Jade Blood sect, and the Thousand Snake Villa all followed. Li Zhenking and the Tyrannosaurus Rex also followed. Seeing this, the strong men from all sides took a breath of cold air. This is going to be a battle until the sky collapses and the earth cracks. If we continue to fight, I'm afraid the empire will be blown through, said an old ancestor of a sect in fear. In the previous battle, countless mountains, forests, and rivers were destroyed and disappeared due to the power of the 2 beast gods and others. Quick, let's follow. Some old ancestors of the sect followed with excitement. The disciples of the Xianshan sect usually regard themselves as the #1 sect in the world. They are arrogant and domineering. They can beat any sect they want and abuse any sect they want. Today, it is rare that the Xianshan sect is defeated. Of course, they want to see the miserable state of the Xianshan sect. Wu Peng of the Xianshan sect drove the Yuhei Shenzhou to escape. Seeing that Yang Zai Ocean, the Sky Blue Thunder Python, and the Ice Flame Kirin were still relentless and chased them, he could not help but get angry. One day, I will kill all the millions of disciples of the True Dragon sect. I will cut off the flesh of this kid Yang Zai Ocean layer by layer. Wu Peng's killing intent reached the extreme. We will fight. Tang Han was also furious when he saw Yang Zai Ocean still chasing him closely from behind. He had never been so embarrassed and humiliated. Wu Peng's eyes were cold. Isn't he going to chase? Then let him chase. Then, we will lead him to our Treading Heaven Divine Array. As long as they return to the Treading Heaven sect and lead Yang Zai Ocean and others into the Treading Heaven Divine Array, he will be sure to kill Yang Zai Ocean and others without leaving a single piece of armor. The Treading Heaven Divine Array and the Shenlong Formation of the Shenlong Imperial Capital are the 2 strongest formations in the Shenlong Empire. As long as Yang Zai Ocean and others enter the Treading Heaven Divine Array, even if the Ice Flame Kirin and the Sky Blue Thunder Python are strong, they will not be able to escape. Not to mention the Fantasy Sea Demon sect, the Killer Building, the Green Blood sect, and the Thousand Snake Villa. Okay, we will lead him to the Treading Heaven Divine Array and let Yang Zai Ocean and others never come back. Tang Han's eyes were also full of murderous intent. So Yang Zai Ocean and others chased them closely and chased them all the way to the gate of the Treading Heaven sect. However, after chasing to the gate of the Treading Heaven sect, the Azure Thunder Python and the Ice Flame Kirin stopped. Young master, the gate of the Treading Heaven sect is ahead. Azure Thunder Python muttered. The Treading Heaven Divine Array is one of the 2 great divine arrays of the Empire. Once Wu Peng activates the Treading Heaven Divine Array, even we have no guarantee of getting out. The Treading Heaven Divine Array. Yang Zai Ocean frowned as he looked at the Treading Heaven sect with its undulating mountains ahead. You all joined forces, and with the addition of millions of beasts, you still can't break the Treading Heaven Divine Array? He asked. Ice Flame Kirin shook his head. The Treading Heaven Divine Array is a divine array that attacks, defends, and traps. Once activated, it can make the power of Wu Peng and others soar by more than double. Soar by more than double? Wouldn't that be equivalent to 34 gods? Yang Xiaoshen's face sank. He clenched his fists, took a deep breath, and said coldly, bomb the area around the Treading Heaven sect 100 times. So, the sky-shaking noise of the bombardment continued. Wu Peng and others couldn't help but look ugly when they heard the bombardment outside the gate of the Treading Heaven sect. After the Ice Flame Kirin, Sky Blue Thunder Python and others were destroyed 100 times, Yang Xiaoshen led everyone away. After a long time, when Wu Peng and others came out of the Tatian sect, they were very angry. They saw that outside the Tatian sect's mountain gate was full of terrifying abysses, which were endless. In the future, the disciples of the Tatian sect will have to fly in and out of the mountain gate, because there is no way to go on the ground. Contact the Blue Sea Divine Sect and the Four Continents Imperial House, Wu Peng said with a raging anger. Night finally fell. At this time, it was late autumn, and it was cool. Yang Xiaoshen had returned to the True Dragon Divine Sect. He stood above Tangshan Peak, looking at the many destroyed palaces and peaks of the True Dragon Divine Sect, and his body was full of murderous aura. He swore that one day, he would personally kill Wu Peng, Tang Hong, Xiao Xiang and 17 gods. However, today's battle also made Yang Xiaoshen deeply feel his own weakness. Although his training speed has far surpassed his peers, he is still too weak to face Wu Peng and other gods. His strength needs to be improved, and improved again. Next, he has to upgrade the two Supreme Martial Souls to the Supreme King Martial Soul. However, thinking of the Million-Year Soul Beast still gives him a headache. Where can he find the 9-layer Heavenly Tribulation Thunder Water now? In the following days, Yang Xiaoshen stayed in Tangshan Peak and practiced hard, practicing the Dragon Art, the Thunder of the Nine Heavens, and the Tangshan Sword Technique. When Yang Xiaoshen was practicing, Hunan, Long Jie, and Long Lan all came. Hunan mentioned Li Yuping, and promised Yang Xiaoshen that he would definitely kill this bitch in the future. Thinking of the years when he often practiced sword fighting with this bitch, Hunan felt more and more disgusted. Long Jie and Long Lan had mixed feelings when they met Yang Xiaoshen again. Before, they had always treated Yang Xiaoshen as a junior. Since the shocking battle, they dared not treat Yang Xiaoshen as a junior anymore. However, when they left, both of them cordially invited Yang Xiaoshen to sit in the Imperial Palace. Yang Xiaoshen could only nod and agree, saying that he would go there when he had time in the future. But now, he just wanted to practice, and practice again. Autumn went and winter came. Unknowingly, the cold winter had come. The True Dragon Divine Sect was covered with snow. It was another new year. On New Year's Day, Yang Xiaoshen did not practice and spent the new year happily with his family at Tangshan Peak. After the new year, Yang Xiaoshen was 12 years old. Due to the long-term consumption of the Heavenly Tribulation Thunder Water and the practice of the beginning dragon technique, he was taller than children of the same age, more than 1.6 meters tall, and had an upright figure and an extraordinary handsome appearance. Those eyes were as deep as stars. After another 2 months, Yang Xiaoshen's cultivation broke through to the late 10th level of the martial sect, and was getting closer and closer to the realm of the martial emperor. What made Yang Xiaoshen depressed was that Qian's Hengai and others still had not heard about the news of the 9-layer Heavenly Tribulation Thunder Water. On this day, Huang Ying came to Yang Xiaoshen and said, "Qiana, your father and I have been out for a few years. We want to go back to Shenhe country." Go back to Shenhe country? Huang Xiaoshen was surprised. Huang Ying nodded and said, "Your grandfather's 60th birthday will be in a few days. I haven't seen your grandfather for a few years. I miss him and want to go back to see him." Chapter 268 Sister Jingai. Hearing that it was Grandpa's 60th birthday, Yang Xiaoshen said, "Then I will go back to Shenhe Kingdom with you." He hadn't seen Grandpa for a few years. In his impression, Grandpa treated him very well. Every time his sister went to Grandpa's house, Grandpa and Grandma would buy him and his sister a lot of candy. And he also wanted to go back to Shenjian Academy to take a look. He is still the master of the Sword Hall of Shenjian Academy. I don't know how Shenjian Academy is now. Yang Xiaoshan was a little emotional. He still clearly remembered the scene when he was brought to Shenjian Academy by Chen Yuan from Yangji as Huang. Time flies, and a few years have passed in the blink of an eye. Hearing that her son was going back to Shenhe Kingdom with her, Huang Ying was very happy and smiled. Okay, then I will go back now and prepare with your father. We will go back to Shenhe Kingdom tomorrow. Seeing his mother's excitement, Yang Xiaoshan smiled. The next day, Yang Xiaoshan took his mother away from the True Dragon Divine Sect and began to return to Shenhe Kingdom. However, his sister Yang Linga rented a secret place for trial a few days ago and would not be back for a month, so Yang Linga did not go back to Shenhe Kingdom with the others this time. This time, Yang Xiaoshan did not bring many people with him, only Wookie, Luo King, Liao Kun, and of course, Xiaojin. Xiaojin, Wookie, Luo King, and others were the first to follow him. Xiaojin was the happiest when he learned that he was going back to Shenhe Kingdom, and his tail was almost cocked all the way. Since time was not tight, everyone talked and laughed all the way back to Shenhe Kingdom, playing in the mountains and rivers. When everyone returned to the kingdom city of Shenhe Kingdom, it was already dark. The lights were on. The streets of the kingdom city of Shenhe Kingdom were bustling with people coming and going, and vendors and peddlers. The True Dragon Divine Sect is a fairyland on earth, with mountains and spirit beasts, and the kingdom city of Shenhe Kingdom, in the eyes of everyone, is no different from the mortal world. But the streets of the mortal world of Shenhe Kingdom have a different beauty. Yang Xiaoshan and others walked on the streets of the king city, looking at the familiar and unfamiliar shops on both sides. Father, today, we will stay in the king city for one night, and continue our journey tomorrow, Yang Xiaoshan said. Yang Chao nodded. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan asked Luo King to find a place to live. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and his friends passed by a small tea house, they saw several beautiful women coming out of it. The leading woman was wearing a light black Luo dress, cold and charming, but there was a hint of worry between her eyebrows, as if she was worried about something, but it made people feel pity. Seeing the woman, Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Sister Jingai. The woman was Wen Jingai from Feng'an Chamber of Commerce. Although I haven't seen her for a few years, Wen Jingai's appearance has not changed much. Instead, she exudes a mature beauty, and her skin seems to be whiter and tenderer. Wen Jingai was thinking about something. When she heard someone calling her sister Jingai, she couldn't help but look up at Yang Xiaoshan, a little surprised and confused. A few years later, Yang Xiaoshan has grown from a little kid to a young boy, and his appearance has changed a lot. She didn't recognize Yang Xiaoshan for a while. She just felt that the handsome young boy in front of her looked familiar. However, when she saw Wookie beside Yang Xiaoshan, she reacted. Her pretty face was full of surprise. She covered her mouth and said excitedly, "You are my brother." Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, "I thought my sister had forgotten me." Seeing that it was really Yang Xiaoshan, Wen Jingai felt happy from heaven. Her face was extremely happy. She stepped forward and said excitedly, "Brother, it's really you. You have grown so big." She even excitedly measured Yang Xiaoshan's head with her jade hand. In the past, Yang Xiaoshan's head only reached her chest. After a few years, Yang Xiaoshan is as tall as her. When Jingai is right in front of him, a woman's body fragrance penetrates into Yang Xiaoshan's nose. Yang Xiaoshan can't help but think of the charming scene of riding a horse with Wen Jingai. Wen Jingai's body fragrance is better than before. After the excitement, Wen Jingai suddenly realized that her actions were a little too intimate. Her pretty face blushed, and she turned around and greeted Yang Chao and Huang Ying, uncle, aunt. She had met Yang Chao and Huang Ying in the royal city. "Miss Wen." Huang Ying looked at the extremely beautiful Wen Jingai in front of her and nodded and smiled. When she was in Xingaiu city, she had heard of Wen Jingai's reputation. "Brother, where have you been these years? You didn't come to see your sister." Wen Jingai looked at Yang Xiaoshan with resentment. Yang Xiaoshan felt a little embarrassed by Wen Jingai's resentful eyes. "I haven't been in Shenhe country these years, but I often think of my sister." This is true. Occasionally, Yang Xiaoshan would think of riding a horse with Wen Jingai. Hearing Yang Xiaoshan say that he often thinks of her, Wen Jinggai felt happy and said with a smile, "Really? You have a conscience." Yang Chao stood aside, watching his son and Wen Jinggai flirting there, and couldn't help but sigh that this boy is popular with both the old and the young. Wen Jinggai learned that Yang Xiaoshan was looking for a place to live, and smiled. "Brother, aunt, if you don't mind, you can live in my house. There are many rooms in my house." "Okay, then I'll bother you, sister." Yang Xiaoshan smiled. Wen Jinggai was very happy to see Yang Xiaoshan agreed, and then enthusiastically invited Yang Xiaoshan, Yang Chao, Huang Ying and others, to go to her house. "Brother, your skin is so good, do you still have that wine?" Wen Jinggai smiled at Yang Xiaoshan on the way. Yang Xiaoshan immediately took out 2 large bottles and gave them to Wen Jinggai. Wen Jinggai was as if she had found a treasure and kept the wine. However, just as everyone was walking towards Wen Jinggai's house, they saw a group of people coming towards them. Seeing this group of people, Wen Jinggai's face, which was full of smiles just now, froze. "Hey, isn't this Miss Jinggai? Where is Miss Jinggai going?" The young man who was leading the opposite side saw that it was Wen Jinggai, but he was full of smiles. He walked over with his men and blocked the way of Yang Xiaoshan and Wen Jinggai. "To Kang, where our young lady goes is none of your business, get out of here." The maid behind Wen Jinggai looked at the young man with disgust and anger. To Kang sneered when he heard it, "You are just a lowly maid, how can you speak here?" Then he said, "If you say the word get out again, believe it or not, I will have someone strip you naked now." The maids behind Wen Jinggai were so angry that their faces turned blue. "Get out of here." Wen Jinggai looked at the other party coldly and said. To Kang looked at the angry Wen Jinggai and smiled. Miss Jinggai is so beautiful, even when she is angry. At this point, he couldn't help but stretch out his hand and wanted to touch Wen Jinggai's face. However, just when his hand was halfway out, it was pinched by Yang Xiaoshan. To Kang was startled and tried to pull his hand back, but he couldn't. He stared at Yang Xiaoshan furiously. "Boy, who are you? Do you know who I am? Oh, who are you?" Yang Xiaoshan had no expression on his face. He squeezed To Kang's fingers hard and made them crackle. To Kang's face was distorted with pain. Seeing this, the men behind To Kang were furious. One of them suddenly punched Yang Xiaoshan. The punch was powerful, and he was a 10th level innate. Chapter 269. The reappearance of the Supreme 4 Elephant Elixir. Be careful. Wen Jinggai reminded him hastily when she saw him. She knew that the expert beside To Kang was a 10th level innate expert. However, just when she was about to attack, Yang Xiaoshan suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed the fist of the expert beside To Kang. Then, Yang Xiaoshan twisted his hand and saw that the opponent's arm was directly twisted into a twist. Yang Xiaoshan kicked the opponent away. Wen Jinggai was stunned. The maids behind her were also shocked. Obviously, they did not expect that this young boy who looked only 12 or 13 years old was so strong. To Kang was also stunned when he saw the expert beside him being kicked away by Yang Xiaoshan. At this time, Yang Xiaoshan continued to use force, pinching To Kang's 5 fingers and making crackling sounds. "Let go." To Kang's face turned purple with pain. "Broken." Yang Xiaoshan continued to use force, and To Kang's 5 fingers made a sound of broken bones. "It's only broken now." Yang Xiaoshan pushed, and the powerful force made To Kang crash into the group of subordinates behind him. Suddenly, To Kang and others were in chaos. After a long time, To Kang climbed up from the ground. He looked at Yang Xiaoshan in shock, fear, and anger, holding up the hand that was broken by Yang Xiaoshan, only to feel that the hand was already in pain and had no feeling. "Boy, you wait." To Kang grinned and said, "If you have the guts, don't leave the royal city." "Okay, I'll wait." Yang Xiaoshan smiled indifferently. To Kang fled with his subordinates in a panic and disappeared at the end of the street in the blink of an eye. Yang Xiaoshan, Wen Jinggai and the others continued to walk towards the mansion. In the middle, Yang Xiaoshan asked, "Sister, who is that To Kang?" Wen Jinggai said with a worried look on her face, "He is the son of the president of Wangshan Chamber of Commerce, and his father is To Crossing." "Wangshan Chamber of Commerce?" Xiaojin smiled and said, why not call it Jiaochen Chamber of Commerce? I think it sounds better to call it Chun Chamber of Commerce. Jiaochen? Wen Jingyi and the maids behind her all burst into laughter. Yang Xiaochen and the others also laughed. After Wen Jingyi laughed, she still looked worried and said, brother, you may not have heard of the Shuangchen Chamber of Commerce, but the Shuangchen Chamber of Commerce has risen very rapidly in recent years, and has recruited a large number of masters. It is now one of the major chambers of commerce in my Shenhe kingdom. In addition, Huangchen Chamber of Commerce has a powerful backer. Thinking of the backer of Huangchen Chamber of Commerce, Wen Jingyi was even more worried. Backer? Yang Xiaochen asked. Yes, the backer of Huangchen Chamber of Commerce is our Shenhe Kingdom's second prince Qinglong. Wen Jingyi said solemnly. Qinglong? Yang Xiaochen was surprised, and then smiled. He and Qinglong and Cheng Bibi were old acquaintances. Wen Jingyi nodded and said, it's Qinglong. Seeing that Yang Xiaochen didn't care, she said carefully, brother, you may not know that Qinglong is not only our Shenhe Kingdom's second prince, but also the disciple of Wang Fan, the chief hall master of Xiandaohuan National Medicine Hall. Wang Fan. Yang Xiaochen was a little surprised when he heard this. He didn't expect Qinglong to have already worshipped Wang Fan as his master. He couldn't help but think of the time when he had seen Qinglong in the main hall of Xiandaohuan National Medicine Hall. No wonder Qinglong appeared in the main hall of Xiandaohuan National Medicine Hall. After second prince Qinglong worshipped Wang Fan as his master, he acted very arrogantly. I heard that even our king doesn't dare to control him now. The maid behind Wen Jingyi said angrily, Huangchen Chamber of Commerce often sends people to our Feng'an Chamber of Commerce to make trouble, and even sends people to rob the goods of our Chamber of Commerce's caravan. Huangchen Chamber of Commerce dares to do this because they rely on Qinglong to support them. Wen Jingyi felt helpless when she thought of this. A few days ago, the goods of a caravan of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce were robbed by Huangchen Chamber of Commerce. This batch of goods was exactly what she was responsible for. Now that the goods were robbed, she has to bear the main responsibility. The president of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce asked her to recover the goods. However, she went to find Ta Crossing of Huangchen Chamber of Commerce yesterday. Ta Crossing not only did not admit it, but also almost detained her in his house. These 2 days, she was worried about this matter. Unknowingly, Yang Xiaochen and his party came to Wen Jingyi's mansion. Wen Jingyi personally arranged a place for Yang Xiaochen and his party to stay. At night, the moonlight was like water. Wen Jingyi came to Yang Xiaochen's yard and saw Yang Xiaochen reading a book. She smiled and asked, brother is still reading a book. Did I disturb you? No. Yang Xiaochen shook his head and put down the book in his hand. He has been searching for books about the Lord of Kangshen recently. This book mentions the deeds of the Lord of Kangshen. Wen Jingyi came to Yang Xiaochen. Tonight, she was wearing a light black thin skirt, which showed the curves of her beautiful figure vividly. Of course, in the night, it was extremely seductive. Her hair was still wet, and it seemed that she had just taken a bath, exuding a faint fragrance. Yang Xiaochen cleared his throat and said, I heard from Xiaolan that the goods of the caravan that sister was in charge of were hijacked by Jiaochen Chamber of Commerce a few days ago. Hearing Yang Xiaochen calling Jiaochen Chamber of Commerce, Wen Jingyi burst into laughter, like a rose that suddenly bloomed in the night. When Wen Jingyi finally stopped laughing, Yang Xiaochen said, I will go to Jiaochen Chamber of Commerce tomorrow and ask them to send the goods back to sister. Seeing that Yang Xiaochen was still calling Jiaochen Chamber of Commerce, Wen Jingyi wanted to laugh again, but when she heard Yang Xiaochen say that Huangchen Chamber of Commerce should send the goods back, she shook her head and said, I appreciate your kindness, brother. She understood that Yang Xiaochen wanted to worry about her, but she knew that Huangchen Chamber of Commerce was very powerful, and she didn't want Yang Xiaochen to wade into this muddy water and get into trouble. Yang Xiaochen knew what Wen Jingyi was thinking, and smiled. Don't worry, sister, I know Qinglong. Wen Jingyi was stunned. Brother knows Qinglong? Yes. Yang Xiaochen blinked. Well known. Wen Jingyi was half believing and half doubting. Well known. Yang Xiaochen smiled. Then, he did not discuss this topic any further, and instead said, Sister, you have recently cultivated to the peak of the 10th level of the innate realm, right? I have a few pills here. Sister can swallow them to cultivate. He took out several medicine bottles. When Jingai was curious about the pills in Yang Ocean's medicine bottle, so she opened it. Suddenly, a brilliant light shone. The shadows of the 4 sacred beasts flew out, and the fragrance of the pills filled the courtyard. Seeing the pills inside, when Jingai was stunned. 4 elephant spirit pill. And it was a top grade 4 elephant spirit pill. Since the mysterious lord long disappeared a few years ago, she has never seen a top grade 4 elephant spirit pill again, and the Divine Sea Kingdom has never seen a top grade 4 elephant spirit pill since then. But now, the top grade 4 elephant spirit pill is alive in front of her. She couldn't help but look at the other jade bottles. Could it be? Thinking of this, she opened the other jade bottles with a trembling heart. All of them were top grade 4 elephant spirit pills. Brother, did you buy these top grade 4 elephant spirit pills? When Jingai asked in shock. At the beginning, the mysterious Lord Long sold 20 top grade 4 elephant spirit pills to Feng'an Chamber of Commerce. Later, Feng'an Chamber of Commerce auctioned them off, and a mysterious person bought a few of them. When Jingai mistakenly thought that the pills in front of her were the ones that were bought at the beginning. Chapter 272 Crossing. What do you want? I bid for it. Yang Ocean shook his head and said with a smile, I told you before that I'm a pharmacist. I made all these top grade 4 elephant spirit pills. When Jingai's beautiful eyes widened, you made them? Yes. Yang Ocean said with a smile. When Jingai suddenly laughed so hard that her body shook with laughter, and then she pointed at Yang Ocean's forehead with her finger. Why don't you say that you are the reincarnation of the god of medicine? Yang Ocean said with a smile. Someone called me the young god of medicine. When Jingai burst out laughing. Yes, you are the young god of medicine, my young god of medicine. The laughter was like pearls falling on a jade plate, which was very pleasant to hear. However, when Jingai refused to accept these top grade 4 elephant spirit pills, saying that they were too expensive. When Yang Ocean sold the top grade 4 elephant spirit pills to the Feng'an Chamber of Commerce, 1 pill cost 200,000 gold, and 5 pills cost 1 million gold. Even for Wen Jingai, it was a huge sum of money. There was no other way, and finally Yang Ocean could only take back the pills. When Jingai stayed for a while before leaving. After when Jingai left, Yang Ocean returned to his room and began to practice. Now, he always carries the cold jade bed from Hanfeng Cave with him. He took out the cold jade bed, sat cross-legged on it, and practiced the beginning dragon technique. The black tortoise and black dragon martial souls were suspended above his head. These days, under the influence of the 7th heaven tribulation thunderwater, the black tortoise and black dragon martial souls have evolved very quickly. According to Yaoding, in another 3 months, the black tortoise and black dragon martial souls will be able to evolve to the Supreme King. While Yang Ocean was practicing, in the headquarters of Wangshan Chamber of Commerce, Tu Crossing looked at his son Tu Kang's broken hand with a gloomy face. Today, he had asked 4 pharmacists to diagnose his son's hand, and they all said that there was no way. His son's hand bones had been completely crushed, and there was no way to recover. Unless he could find a holy medicine, but even their king of Shenhe Kingdom couldn't get a holy medicine, let alone him. His son's hand was equivalent to being useless. When Jingai, you bitch. Tu Crossing's face was gloomy, and he hoarsely said, you, a small elder of the Feng'an Chamber of Commerce, dared to cripple my son's hand. Just wait for me. I will definitely cripple your whole body. The sky gradually brightened. Yang Ocean walked out of the room, feeling refreshed. He practiced Thunder 9 Heavens in the yard for a while, and then saw Wen Jingai, who was wearing a light black dress, coming over. Wen Jingai likes to wear black very much. Yang Ocean has seen her several times, and she always wears black. However, black can better set off Wen Jingai's fair skin. White and tender, it always makes people have a reverie. Brother, you get up so early to practice sword. When Jingai saw Yang Ocean practicing sword and smiled, you rarely come to the royal city. I'll take you to have breakfast. There is a tea house with delicious breakfast. Okay. Yang Ocean smiled. Anyway, It's still early before Grandpa's 60th birthday, so it's okay to stay in the royal city for one more day. So Wen Jingai will take Yang Xiaoshan and his family to the tea house for breakfast. However, just as everyone was about to leave, Wen Jingai's maid Xiaolan ran over in a panic and said, "Miss, to crossing from Wangchun Chamber of Commerce brought a large group of people to our Chamber of Commerce headquarters to cause trouble." Wen Jingai's heart sank when she heard that two crossing brought people to the Feng'an Chamber of Commerce headquarters to cause trouble. How many people did they bring? Wen Jingai took a deep breath and asked. More than 100 people, all masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce. Xiaolan was very panicked. As soon as they arrived at the headquarters trading hall, they smashed everything. And they injured people, and injured many disciples and guards of our Chamber of Commerce. Now the president and the masters of our Chamber of Commerce are confronting them, but Two Crossing is shouting, asking the president to hand over my sister and Mr. Yang, and give him and his son an explanation. Xiaolan said this, and glanced at Yang Xiaoshan. Hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan said to Wen Jingai, "In that case, let's go to the Chamber of Commerce first. Brother, you guys better not go over, I'll go over." Wen Jingai shook her head. Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, "It's okay. I caused this. I'll take care of it." Then he and the others went to the headquarters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce. Xiaojin followed behind Yang Xiaoshan, licking his signature lollipop. Wookie and others were no longer used to it, but Xiaolan stared at the super large lollipop in Xiaojin's hand with curiosity. To be honest, it was the first time she saw such a large lollipop. And I don't know what material it is made of, it looks so delicious, making people drool. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and his party came to the headquarters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce, Wen Fei looked at To Crossing angrily in the hall of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce headquarters. To Crossing, what do you want? To Crossing sat on a specially made throne, crossed his legs, and looked at Wen Fei coldly. "My son's hand was crippled by your people, and you still ask me what I want." Then he said proudly, "I have always been a fair person. Pay 1 million gold coins. Also, hand over that bitch Wen Jingai and that kid to me." Everyone in Feng'an Chamber of Commerce was furious when they heard it. To Crossing, don't think I don't know that the recent caravan of our Chamber of Commerce was robbed by your people. Wen Fei said angrily, "Your people killed the disciples of my Chamber of Commerce. How can we settle this account? Don't think that we can't do anything to you, just because the second prince is backing you up." To Crossing laughed wildly. "That's right, the recent caravan of your Chamber of Commerce was robbed by my people." Then he laughed. "The disciples of your Chamber of Commerce were also killed by my people, and it was my order. What can you do to me?" Seeing To Crossing's admission, the masters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce drew their weapons in anger. Seeing this, To Crossing didn't take it to heart. He smiled and said to Wen Fei, "Wen Fei, before you take action, you have to think clearly. I brought 10 martial arts masters." Then he pointed to an old man behind him. "This old gentleman is a martial arts master of the second level. 10 martial arts masters. The second level of martial arts masters." Wen Fei and the masters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce all changed their faces. In Shenhe country, martial arts masters are rare. Even the first level martial arts masters are peerless masters, not to mention the second level martial arts masters. Although Wen Fei is the top master of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce, he is only in the late first level martial arts masters. There are only 3 martial arts masters in the entire Feng'an Chamber of Commerce. But this time, To Crossing brought 10 martial arts masters. To Crossing actually recruited so many martial arts masters? Wen Fei couldn't help but think of Chen Long behind To Crossing. At this time, To Crossing said with a smile, "Wen Fei, I want to see 1 million in 1 stick of incense. And, in 1 stick of incense, if you don't hand over Wen Jingai and that kid, don't blame my people for taking action. Don't blame me for not reminding you. My people have been itching to do something recently, and they don't know how to control their strength. If they blast you into a cripple, it will not be my business." However, just as To Crossing finished speaking, he heard people from the Feng'an Chamber of Commerce outside saying, "Ninth Elder." The 9th Elder was Wen Jingai. When To Crossing heard that Wen Jingai was coming, his eyes flashed with excitement and bloodthirsty light. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271. Let that bitch in. Let that bitch in. Two Crossing shouted to his men who were guarding outside. So, his men did not stop them and let Yang Ocean, Wen Jingai and others in. However, just when Two Crossing was thinking about how to make Wen Jingai kneel down in public and lick his toes, suddenly, a figure flashed, and before he could react, his throat hurt, and he was lifted up from the throne by the neck. The sudden change in front of them made everyone unable to react. When everyone reacted, they saw that Two Crossing had been lifted up in the air by a 12 or 13-year-old boy holding his neck. Everyone was stunned. It was Yang Ocean who lifted Two Crossing in the air. Yang Ocean looked at the other party coldly. What did you say just now? Two Crossing was lifted up in the air by Yang Ocean holding his neck, and he felt difficulty breathing. He looked at Yang Ocean angrily. Bitch. When he was about to speak again, Yang Ocean suddenly punched the other party in the belly with shuriken. Boom. The sound was like beating a drum. Two Crossing was hit by this punch and his internal organs turned upside down. The terrifying power of shuriken destroyed his internal organs crazily. The hellish slashing made Two Crossing's face purple and his eyes shed tears. Both the masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce and Feng'an Chamber of Commerce were stunned. Even Wen Jingai's beautiful eyes were shocked. You know, Two Crossing is the president of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce, and his strength is not weak. But now he was pinched by Yang Ocean's neck, and was hit so hard that he had no power to fight back. Her brother was so strong. At this time, the masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce reacted one after another. The second level Wuzong old man suddenly punched Yang Ocean and shouted, "Boy, put President 2 down." The fist force surged. Is it Wuzong? Wen Jingai's pretty face changed drastically. Seeing that the second level Wuzong old man's fist was about to hit Yang Ocean, suddenly, a golden tail swept over and hit him directly in the chest, sweeping him away fiercely. When the old man of the second level of Wuzong fell to the corner of the hall, he vomited blood and several bones in his chest were broken. Everyone looked over in shock and saw that the one who attacked was Xiaojin, who was licking a lollipop. Looking at Xiaojin, the maid Xiaolin's eyes were full of disbelief. She was just an innate, and in her eyes, a master of Wuzong realm was the best existence. But this little golden beast who licked a lollipop all the way and looked like a good baby was actually stronger than Wuzong. Yang Ocean ignored everyone, looked at Two Crossing, and said coldly, "What did you say just now?" Two Crossing was terrified, frightened, and hated by the bombardment. He was fierce on the outside, but weak on the inside, and screamed, "Boy, I'm the second prince's man. You are looking for death." Yang Ocean said calmly, "Oh, you are the second prince's man." At this point, he punched the other person in the belly with sheer power again. Two Crossing was twitching with pain. Kill that brat." In the crowd, Kang angrily said to the masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce, "What are you standing there for? Kill that brat." The masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce swarmed towards Yang Ocean. More than 100 masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce attacked at the same time, and 9 of them were martial masters. Their power was incredible. At least in the eyes of Wen Fei, Wen Jingai and others, their power was amazing. However, just as Wen Fei, Wen Jingai and others were about to attack, suddenly, Wookiee beside Yang Ocean snorted coldly and slammed the big wooden stick in his hand to the ground. There was a loud bang. The ground of the entire Feng'an Chamber of Commerce trembled. With the big wooden stick as the center, the dark green ice air swallowed the people of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce at a terrifying speed. Wherever it passed, all the masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce were frozen. First the feet, then the body, and the head. They were completely frozen there. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 people from Wangchun Chamber of Commerce, including the old man who was just blown away by Xiaojin, all turned into ice sculptures in different postures. In the end, only Two Kang and Two Crossing were left in Wangchun Chamber of Commerce who were not frozen into ice sculptures. When Fei and the masters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce looked at the ice sculptures in front of them, all of them were horrified. In one move, more than 100 masters were frozen, and there were also 10 martial arts masters. What kind of strength is this? They looked at Wookiee, unable to hide their fear. Even when Jingai was shocked. She had seen Wookiee take action before, and knew that Wookiee was not weak, but she only knew that Wookiee was not weak. But now Wookiee froze 10 martial arts masters and more than 100 masters of Wangchun Chamber of Commerce in one move. This is more than just strong. Crossing and Kang, father and son, looked at the scene in front of them and were terrified. When the dark green icy air rushed to Kang's feet, Kang was scared and peed directly, and the ground was wet. You said you are the second prince's man? Yang Xiaoshan looked at Crossing. Crossing shook his head desperately in fear. Yang Xiaoshan punched him in the belly again. Crossing's eyes bulged out, and he was almost unconscious from the pain. Yang Xiaoshan threw him aside. You had people rob the goods of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce a few days ago, and now you have people send them back. Yang Xiaoshan said. Crossing, who was twitching in pain, looked embarrassed. Because he had already given most of the goods of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce to the second Prince Qinglong. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan punched him again, and Crossing was so scared that he nodded quickly and dared not say anything else. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan asked Crossing to leave and return the goods within an hour. As for Kang, he was detained. Crossing stumbled, holding his crotch, hunched over, and fled out of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce with a terrified face. He did not flee back to Wangchun Chamber of Commerce, but fled towards the direction of the palace. To Crossing's surprise, he met Chenglong's team not far away from Feng'an Chamber of Commerce. This time, Chenglong cordially invited Wang Fan and Liu Shuang from the Pharmacist General Hall of Xiandao College to visit the Shenhe King City. Not long after they entered the King City, they saw a man stumbling from a distance, blocking the team's way. When he saw the other person's face clearly, Chenglong was surprised. Crossing came to Chenglong's team and cried like a rain of flowers. Second Prince, I finally found you. I almost couldn't see you just now. Seeing Crossing crying miserably, Chenglong frowned. What's the matter? Second Prince, it's Feng'an Chamber of Commerce. The people of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce crushed my son's hand bones yesterday. I took people to Feng'an Chamber of Commerce today to seek justice, but I didn't expect the other party's terrifying strength. Crossing was horrified. With one move, he froze all of Yan Leo and others into ice sculptures. What? Chenglong was shocked. Of course he knew that Yan Leo was a second level martial arts master. At the beginning, it was he who arranged Yan Leo to be with Crossing. Then, Crossing said tremblingly, he asked me to return all the goods that Feng'an Chamber of Commerce lost a while ago within an hour, otherwise, he would kill my son and destroy Wangchun Chamber of Commerce. Destroy Wangchun Chamber of Commerce? Chenglong's face was gloomy. Does he know that you are my man? He knows. Crossing's voice trembled. Chapter 272. Why are you so scared? Chenglong was shocked and suspicious when he heard this. Since the other party knew that Crossing was his man, he still dared to attack. And when did Feng'an Chamber of Commerce produce such a master? Are you sure that the other party is from Feng'an Chamber of Commerce? Chenglong couldn't help asking. Crossing hesitated for a moment and described, he is only 12 or 13 years old. 12 or 13 years old. Not only Chenglong, but also Wang Fan and Liu Shuang were shocked. Yes, he was wearing a light blue robe. Crossing recalled, the old man under him was dressed strangely, like a person from an ancient tribe. By the way, his weapon was a big wooden staff. What? Big wooden staff? Chenglong, Wang Fan, and Liu Shuang were all shocked and said in unison. Crossing didn't expect that the mention of the big wooden staff would cause such a big reaction from Chenglong, Wang Fan, and Liu Shuang. Is that old man full of wrinkles, like a great wizard? Liu Shuang asked in a trembling voice. Yes, that's right. His face is full of wrinkles, like a great wizard. Crossing hurriedly said, it was him who turned all of old Yan and the others into ice sculptures in one move. He hit the ground with his big wooden stick, and a dark green icy air surged. Chenglong, Wang Fan, and Liu Shuang's faces changed. Does that young boy have any other subordinates around him? Liu Shuang asked again in a trembling voice. To Crossing heard it and replied, he has 7 or 8 subordinates around him, and there is also a little golden beast. Little golden beast. Chenglong, Wang Fan, and Liu Shuang were terrified and lost their minds. They fell off their horses to the ground at the same time. Before To Crossing could react, Chenglong, Wang Fan, and Liu Shuang actually ran towards the city gate, and when they ran, they kicked the stones on the road and fell down. But the 3 of them got up and fled madly. Not only To Crossing was stunned, but also Chenglong, Wang Fan and his men were stunned. They couldn't understand why Chenglong, Wang Fan and the other 2 were so scared after hearing about the little golden beast. By the time To Crossing reacted, Chenglong, Wang Fan and the other 2 had already fled without a trace. To Crossing's mouth opened wide. At this moment, in the main hall of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce, Yangzhou Ocean, Wenfei and others were waiting for To Crossing, but they saw a disciple of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce running in with a panicked look on his face, and said to Wenfei, President, Second Prince Chenglong has just returned to the royal city. He came back with Wang Fan and Liu Shuang from the Xiandao Empire. Wenfei, Wen Jinggai and others were shocked to hear that Chenglong had returned, and even Wang Fan and Liu Shuang from the Xiandao Empire had come. Is it Wang Fan, the chief hall master of the Xiandao Empire? Wenfei asked in surprise. Yes, it's the chief hall master Wang Fan. The Feng'an Chamber of Commerce disciple said in panic. There are also dozens of masters from the Xiandao Empire Pharmacist Hall. Wenfei felt his eyes darken. He had never felt that the world was so dim. He had heard about the story of Wang Fan and Liu Shuang. Wang Fan and Liu Shuang were tyrannical and arbitrary, and they could be said to have an absolute control over the world and the Xiandao Empire. Anyone who offended Wang Fan and Liu Shuang would have a bad ending. However, Wenfei and others waited anxiously for a long time, but Chenglong, Wang Fan and others did not arrive. They could not help but send people to inquire. When they heard that Chenglong, Wang Fan and Liu Shuang had escaped, Wenfei and others were dumbfounded. Escaped? Wenfei's eyes widened. Yes, I heard that they met To Crossing not long after entering the city. I don't know what To Crossing said to the 3 of them, and the 3 of them were so scared that they fell off their horses to the ground. The disciple gestured excitedly. Then, they fled directly out of the royal city. Some people say that when they fled, they fell down and got bruised and swollen, and then they got up and continued to flee. Wenfei and the masters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce were stunned. They were surprised, but more confused. They wondered why Chenglong, Wang Fan, Liu Shuang and others fled. Why were they so scared? Could it be? Wenfei couldn't help but look at Yangzhou Ocean, who had a calm face from beginning to end, with awe in his eyes. There is no doubt that it was because of this young man that Wang Fan, Liu Shuang, and Chenglong were scared like this. Who is Wang Fan? He is the chief pharmacist of the Xiandao Empire. In the Xiandao Empire, he is almost on par with the emperor of the Xiandao Empire. Now, he is scared to death by this young man. You can imagine how terrifying this young man is. Otherwise, with Wang Fan's status, it is impossible to be scared like this. The other masters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce obviously thought of the same question, and they all looked at Yangzhou Ocean in fear. Escaped? Yangzhou Ocean frowned. Originally, according to his intention, since Liu Shuang and Wang Fan came over, he would blow them up. Wu Qi stepped forward and said to Yangzhou Ocean, Sir, how about I chase them and bring back the heads of Wang Fan and Liu Shuang? Bring back the heads of Wang Fan and Liu Shuang. As soon as Wu Qi said this, the masters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce all felt weak in their legs and looked at Wu Qi in fear. Even when Jinggai's heart was beating wildly, Yangzhou Ocean shook his head and said, since they have escaped, forget it. They can't escape anyway. We can just kill them next time we pass by the Xiandao Imperial Kingdom Pharmacist Hall. The masters of Feng'an Chamber of Commerce were trembling even more. President Wen. Yangzhou Ocean suddenly turned around and spoke to Wenfei. Here, Wenfei was so scared that he trembled and quickly bowed. Please send someone to see if To Crossing has sent the goods back. Yangzhou Ocean said. Wenfei was flattered. Don't worry, sir. I'll send someone right away. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Tu Crossing walked in with a look of horror on his face, then took out a space ring with trembling hands, and knelt in front of Yang Ocean. Sir, all the goods that were robbed from Fenga and Chamber of Commerce before are here. It's just that some of them are with the second prince, who is not in the royal city now. However, I have replaced them with other treasures, all of which are in here, no more and no less. Please spare my life, sir. After saying that, he kept kowtowing. Yang Ocean handed the space ring to Wenjingai. Sister, take a look. After Wenjingai took the space ring and opened it, she saw that it was filled with all kinds of medicinal materials, spiritual stones, ores and various treasures, which were more than twice the amount of goods they had been robbed. It's a lot more than the goods that were robbed before, Wenjingai said. Tu Crossing shook his hands anxiously. Not much, the extra is my compensation to Fenga and Chamber of Commerce and Miss Wen. Then he continued to kowtow to Yang Ocean, crying, I'm just following orders, sir, please forgive me, spare my life. Yang Ocean looked at Wenjingai and said, sister, I will leave him to you to deal with. Thank you, brother. Wenjingai said to Yang Ocean, her voice was very gentle. But in the end, she did not kill the other party, but only broke the other party's danshan, and abolished the other party's cultivation. After solving the matter of Fenga and Chamber of Commerce, Yang Ocean and his party stayed in Wangqing for a day. The next day, with the farewell of everyone in Fenga and Chamber of Commerce, they set off to return to Xingyu City. Chapter 273 Grandpa's Birthday. When Yang Ocean left, Wenjingai's eyes were as gentle as water. Brother, remember to visit me more often in the future. I will. Yang Ocean nodded. Wenjingai wanted to say something, but she didn't say much in the end. She just watched Yang Ocean leave with her beautiful eyes. The morning sun shone on Yang Ocean, covering him with a layer of gold. She watched Yang Ocean's figure disappear in the golden sun, standing for a long time, unwilling to leave. Seeing Yang Ocean's figure finally disappear, she felt empty in her heart. Brother, don't worry, sister will practice that technique well. Wenjingai murmured. Last night, Yang Ocean gave her a technique. Let her practice it well. After Yang Ocean left the royal city, he went to the Divine Sword Academy. When he passed by the Divine Sword City, it was a pity that Yang Ocean did not see Chen Yuan and Lin Yang. Both of them were away and went out of town. Yang Ocean did see Chen Shanking. He led the other 5 from the sword hall. The 5 people were naturally happy and excited to see Yang Ocean. They had already learned that Yang Ocean had joined the True Dragon sect. Of course, they only knew that Yang Ocean had joined the True Dragon sect, and they didn't know about the battle between Yang Ocean and the Tatian sect a while ago. However, even so, it was enough to make the 5 people extremely excited. After all, in the hundreds of years of the Divine Sword Academy, only 2 people could join the top 10 super sects of the empire. Yang Ocean rarely came back, and gave the 5 people some pointers on swordsmanship, and even had a sparring match with the 5 people. A few years ago, Yang Ocean was no match for the 5 people, and Chen Shanking could easily defeat Yang Ocean with the flick of his finger. Now, even if the 5 people join forces, they are no match for Yang Ocean. This change made Chen Shanking and the other 5 sigh. When Yang Ocean left, the 5 people sent Yang Ocean out of the Divine Sword City. Looking at Yang Ocean's leaving figure, Chen Shanking sighed. The palace master should be the #1 master of my Shenhe kingdom now. Thinking back to the beginning, the lord of the Divine Sword City, Peng Zhigang, predicted that Yang Ocean would become the #1 master of the Shenhe kingdom in 10 years. And now, it has been less than 4 years. After traveling day and night, Yang Ocean and his party finally returned to Xingyu City. That night, Yang Ocean and his party stayed in the house in Xingyu City. This house was bought by Yang Chao and Huang Ying with more than 1,000 gold. The house is not big, but it is the home in Yang Ocean's heart. Yang Chao and Huang Ying returned to the house and looked at everything familiar in the house with a lot of emotion. After a night's rest, everyone went to the Huang family in Licheng early in the morning. Licheng is not far away. An hour later, everyone arrived in Licheng. Compared with Xingyu City, Licheng is much larger. The Huang family is a big family in Licheng, and tomorrow is the 60th birthday of the head of the Huang family, so it is very lively. When Yang Xiaoshan and others arrived, many luxurious carriages were parked in front of the gate of the Huang family mansion. Knowing that Yang Xiaoshan, Yang Chao, and Huang Ying's family had arrived, the Huang family was shocked. Yang Xiaoshan's grandfather Huang Lin and grandmother Wang Yan were overjoyed and led everyone to greet them. Yang Xiaoshan joined Xiandao Academy and became a genius student of Xiandao Academy. The news spread all over Shenhe country a few years ago. The Huang family also knew that Yang Xiaoshan had joined Xiandao Academy. At that time, Huang Lin even held a big banquet to celebrate. Therefore, Yang Xiaoshan is now the pride of Huang Lin. Father, mother. Huang Ying saw Huang Lin and Wang Yan coming out. When she saw the two elders, her eyes were moist. Huang Lin and Wang Yan were also very excited. They took Huang Ying's hand and said, "Jinga, you are back. Good, good." Yang Chao and Yang Xiaoshan also came forward to call out. Huang Lin's beard trembled with excitement. He took Yang Xiaoshan's hand and was extremely happy. "My Xiaoshan has grown so tall. What a handsome boy. Much more handsome than your father." Yang Chao smiled bitterly. He actually looks good, but Xiaoshan is much more handsome than him. Even he felt that his son's appearance and talent were as monstrous as a monster. "Oh, this is Xiaoshan. I haven't seen you for a few years. You have grown up so much." At this time, the aunt who was always mean and fierce also smiled enthusiastically. Yang Xiaoshan didn't have a good impression of this aunt. When he and his sister came to the Huang family when they were young, this aunt often gave them cold eyes. Invited by Huang Lin and others, Yang Xiaoshan and his family entered the Huang mansion. Because of Yang Xiaoshan's arrival, the Huang mansion was even more lively. Many family patriarchs from Licheng and even nearby cities came after hearing the news. The next day, Huang Lin's birthday banquet was full of laughter and toasts. At the birthday banquet, Yang Xiaoshan gave his grandparents a pill, and Huang Lin was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. The banquet ended only when night fell. Yang Xiaoshan was flipping through books about the Lord of the Kang God in the yard. Through the books about the Lord of the Kang God collected these days, he knew a lot about the deeds of the Lord of the Kang God, and also knew the cave where the Lord of the Kang God practiced in the past. In addition, the Lord of Kangshan left behind a set of artifacts, called the Kangshan set. This set of Kangshan set is also the only set of artifacts of the true God level in Kangshan continent. Foyan Empire. Yang Xiaoshan read. In the past, the cave where the Lord of Kangshan practiced was in the Foyan Empire, and it was on a mountain called Xianzang Mountain. So, no matter what, he had to go to Xianzang Mountain in the Foyan Empire. Because the heart of Kangshan is very likely in the cave of Kangshan. Kangshan is the Lord of Kangshan continent. There are definitely a lot of treasures in the cave of Kangshan, and there may even be 9-layer heavenly tribulation thunderwater. In addition, Kangshan has an extremely powerful mount, which is the ancient mythical beast Kangsheng, and it is still guarding Kangshan continent. It is precisely because of this ancient mythical beast Kangshan that Kangshan continent is not in chaos now. If he can integrate the heart of Kangshan and obtain the power of Kangshan, he may be able to let this ancient mythical beast Kangshan follow him. If this Kangshan follows, it will be easy to destroy the 4 super sects of Tatian sect. Chapter 274, Buddhist Empire. After staying in Licheng for 10 days, Yang Xiaoshan and his companions set out to return to the True Dragon sect. After returning to the True Dragon sect, Yang Xiaoshan told everyone in the Huang family that he was going to the Foyan Empire. What? Going to the Foyan Empire? Yang Chao and others were shocked when they heard this. In the True Dragon sect, Yang Chao and Huang Ying also knew something about the Kangshan continent and knew that the Foyan Empire was an empire extremely far away from the Shenlong Empire. Yes, the Foyan Empire. Yang Xiaoshan pondered and said, "I may be away for 2 years this time." 2 years. Yang Chao and Huang Ying were silent. However, they also knew that their son must have important things to do when he went to the Foyan Empire. So although they were worried, they did not dissuade him much. "Xiaoshan, you must be careful when you are outside," Huang Ying warned. "Don't worry, mother." Yang Xiaoshan nodded. "You and father should also be careful during the days I'm away." Then he told the two of them to be fine, and it would be best not to leave the True Dragon sect. He has activated the power of the 19th sword monument of the sword path. With the blessing of the power of the sword path, the True Dragon sect is still safe. The next day, Yang Xiaoshan left the True Dragon sect with the reluctance of Yang Chao, Huang Ying, and Yang Linga. The journey was too long this time, so Yang Xiaoshan did not let Wookiee, Xiaojin and others follow. Xiaojin licked the lollipop and cried so sadly. At the end, the little guy cried, "Sir, if there are lollipops in the Foyan Empire, remember to buy them for me." Yang Xiaoshan was speechless. After leaving the True Dragon sect, Yang Xiaoshan did not stop all the way, and soon entered the Four Continents Empire. In recent days, the Four Continents Imperial House has formed an alliance with the Heaven Stepping sect. Therefore, when passing through the capital of the Four Continents Empire, Yang Xiaoshan asked the Ice Flame Kirin and the Sky Blue Thunder Python to bombard the Four Continents Imperial Palace, scaring the Four Continents Emperor to flee with his head in his hands. After a fierce bombardment, Yang Xiaoshan did not want to fight, and left with the two beasts. After leaving the Four Continents Empire, Yang Xiaoshan walked and stopped along the way, practicing while traveling. After passing through one empire after another, he finally arrived at the border of the Foyan Empire. At this time, 3 months had passed since Yang Xiaoshan left the True Dragon Divine Sect. In these 3 months, Yang Xiaoshan not only broke through to the peak of the 10th level of the Wuzang, but also practiced the Thunder 9 Heavens and Tangshan swordsmanship to the 40th move. There are 9 more moves, Yang Xiaoshan said secretly. As long as there are 9 more moves, he can practice the Tangshan swordsmanship completely. If he practices the Tangshan swordsmanship completely, he can take charge of the Tangshan Divine Sect. Xian King Li Mang said that there is a Tangshan Divine Sect branch in the Foyan Empire. Yang Xiaoshan walked into the border city of the Foyan Empire and saw Buddha statues and temples everywhere in the city. The Foyan Empire is an empire that mainly practices Buddhism and swordsmanship. Perhaps because of the border, the city is a little sparsely populated, not as lively as Yang Xiaoshan imagined. However, when Yang Xiaoshan was walking on the street, a young man in ragged clothes came up and walked past Yang Xiaoshan. When he passed by Yang Xiaoshan, he took the space storage bag from Yang Xiaoshan's waist. His hand speed was extremely fast and there was no sound. If it was an ordinary martial arts master, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to detect it. However, Yang Xiaoshan's soul power is now so strong that it has reached an astonishing level. How could he hide it from Yang Xiaoshan? So, the other party took Yang Xiaoshan's space storage bag and was about to leave when Yang Xiaoshan grabbed his collar by the back of his hand. The other party didn't expect to be seen through by Yang Xiaoshan. After a start, he didn't panic and laughed. "Sir, your space storage bag is pretty good." But he didn't return the space storage bag to Yang Xiaoshan and laughed. "I haven't had a full meal for a few days. Sir, please be kind and give me a few gold coins so that I can have a full meal." Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. He had seen thieves before, but this was the first time he had seen such a bold thief. He caught her in the act, yet she dared to bargain with him with a frivolous smile. "Oh, you haven't had a full meal for a few days?" Yang Xiaoshan looked at him with a smile. "Yes, look at my thin arms and legs." The boy lifted his sleeves and showed his arms to Yang Xiaoshan. It was indeed a little thin, but the skin was delicate and tender, just like a girl's arm. Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, "Do you know if there is a restaurant nearby?" The boy was overjoyed when he heard it. I know there is a restaurant nearby that has delicious wine." Having said that, he returned the space storage bag to Yang Xiaoshan and then took Yang Xiaoshan to the front. The boy was very warm. Yang Xiaoshan followed the boy and came to the restaurant he mentioned and then ordered a plate of good food and wine. The two chatted while eating. From the conversation, Yang Xiaoshan learned that the boy's name was Zeduo Qiu and he was 2 years older than him. However, what puzzled Yang Xiaoshan was that this Zeduo Qiu should be a descendant of a noble family, and his cultivation was quite strong, with a solid foundation. He didn't know why he dressed like this and went out to steal. "Zeduo Qiu, I want to ask you something," Yang Xiaoshan asked. Zeduo Qiu smiled and patted his chest. "Brother, please tell me. As long as I know, I promise to tell you everything I know." Yang Xiaoshan smiled and asked, do you know Xianzang Mountain? Although he knew that Kangshen Cave Mansion was in Xianzang Mountain, he didn't know where Xianzang Mountain was in the Foyuan Empire. Zuo Qiu was stunned. Xianzang Mountain? Why are you asking about Xianzang Mountain? Yang Xiaoshan was delighted when he saw the other party's reaction. Obviously, the other party knew Xianzang Mountain. He was also worried that after a million years, Xianzang Mountain would have disappeared in the long river of history, or would have become another name. If that happened, it would be troublesome to find it. Chapter 275. Don't fight him. I want to go to the Sky Burial Mountain. Yang Xiaoshan did not hide it. Do you know the Sky Burial Mountain? Zuo Qiu nodded and smiled. A lot of people know about the Sky Burial Mountain, but I don't know if it is the Sky Burial Mountain you are talking about. Where is the Sky Burial Mountain? Yang Xiaoshan asked quickly. There is a Sky Burial Mountain in the Sky Burial Academy. Zuo Qiu said. Sky Burial Academy. Yang Xiaoshan was stunned. Zuo Qiu looked at Yang Xiaoshan in surprise and said, brother, you must know about the Xianzang Academy, right? Xianzang Academy is one of the two major academies in our Foyuan Empire. Yang Xiaoshan explained, I have been practicing at home and rarely leave home. Then he asked, how can I enter Xianzang Academy? Zuo Qiu said, as long as you are a student of Xianzang Academy, you can enter Xianzang Academy to study. In fact, it is quite easy to become a student of Xianzang Academy. As long as you pay a certain amount of tuition every year, you can enter Xianzang Academy to study. Yang Xiaoshan's eyes widened. You mean, anyone can become a student of Xianzang Academy? Yes. Zuo Qiu smiled and said, anyone can. Any sect or family disciple can do it, but you have to pay tuition. The tuition for 1 year is not cheap. Xianshan Realm needs to pay 10,000 gold a year, Wuwan needs to pay 100,000 gold a year, and as for Wuzang, it is 1 million gold a year. Yang Xiaoshan clicked his tongue when he heard it. Wuzang, the tuition for 1 year alone is 1 million gold. It is indeed amazing. If Xianzang Academy has 10,000 Wuzang Realm students, how much will the tuition be for 1 year? That is definitely a terrifying number. However, if you can pass their annual assessment, the Xianzang Academy can refund your tuition back to you. Zuo Qiu smiled and said, it's just that these assessments are very difficult, and those who can pass are very rare. It's just a thought. How many people can pass the Xianzang Academy assessment every year? Yang Xiaoshan asked curiously. The assessments set for each realm are different. Zuo Qiu said. For each realm, no more than 10 students can pass. No more than 10 people. No wonder Zuo Qiu said that those who can pass are very rare. Zuo Qiu smiled and said, how about it, brother? You want to go to the Xianzang Academy? Do you want me to lead the way? I'm a person who is easy to satisfy, as long as I have food. Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, okay, food, enough. He still has a good impression of this carefree young Zuo Qiu. He has just arrived in the Foyuan Empire and is unfamiliar with the place, so he really needs someone to lead the way. After the two of them had enough food and drink, they continued on their way. In order to make it easier to travel, Yang Xiaoshan purchased 2 wind beasts. The wind beast ran fast, faster than a 1,000-mile horse. More than 10 days later, the two arrived at the Xianzang Academy. The Xianzang Academy was very large, with continuous mountains, and no end in sight. A huge stone tablet in front of the academy caught Yang Xiaoshan's attention. On the huge stone tablet, someone carved names on it with sword energy. Ji Wudi, Jian Shankong, Sun and Moon Saint King, Demon Heaven Sword God, Kinglian Sword God. Looking at the names on the stone tablet, Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Because each of these people is an amazing existence, and they are all invincible people who are renowned throughout the Kangshen continent. Each of them is the supreme overlord of the Kangshen continent. Each of them is an insurmountable mountain that is difficult to cross. Especially when he saw the Kinglian Sword God, Yang Xiaoshan was very surprised. Seeing Yang Xiaoshan staring at the stone tablet, Zuo Qiu said with admiration, these invincible masters, they all studied at the Xianzang Academy. Although they have left the Xianzang Academy for many years, they are still remembered by the students and masters of the academy, and their reputation will last forever. Yang Xiaoshan asked, has Kinglian Sword God also come to Xianzang Academy to study? Yes. Zuoqiu was immediately interested when Yang Xiaoshan mentioned Kinglian Sword God, and said, more than 1,000 years ago, Kinglian Sword God entered Xianzang Academy to study for 4 years. Although Kinglian Sword God has not been studying at Xianzang Academy for a long time, he has broken many records of Xianzang Academy. He is also one of the youngest sword gods in our Kangshan continent. He is the one I admire the most. My ancestor said that within 100 years, he is expected to become one of the top 10 masters in our Kangshan continent. Zuoqiu said this with stars in his eyes. It is obvious that he admires Kinglian Sword God very much and is his little fan. Yang Xiaoshan did not expect that senior brother Kinglian had also come to Xianzang Academy to study. What strength do you need to reach to leave your name on this stone tablet? Yang Xiaoshan was very curious. Do you need to be a god? Zuoqiu said, you don't have to be a god. For example, if you can refine a god level elixir or condense 9 sword hearts, you can leave your name on this stone tablet. Is it enough to condense 9 sword hearts? Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Then he has condensed 8 sword hearts now. 1 more sword heart is missing. Wouldn't it be possible to leave your name on this stone tablet? It doesn't seem that difficult. Zuoqiu rolled his eyes when he heard Yang Xiaoshan's tone and said unhappily, what do you mean you only need to condense 9 sword hearts? Do you think it's easy to condense 9 sword hearts? Those who can condense 9 sword hearts are unparalleled in the ages. Do you know how many people have been able to condense 9 sword hearts since the establishment of the Xianzang Academy? Only 5. Just 5. Then, he excitedly stretched out a palm and held up 5 fingers, as if he was afraid that Yang Xiaoshan didn't know 5. Seeing Zuoqiu's excitement, Yang Xiaoshan asked with a smile, is there anyone who can condense 10 sword hearts? Zuoqiu was stunned. 10? Boy, where did you come from, you idiot? You keep talking about 10 sword hearts. At this time, a boy of 17 or 18 years old came over surrounded by a group of people. The boy was wearing a white robe, with an ancient sword on his waist. He had an extraordinary demeanor and very white skin, like a young master in the turbid world. Zuoqiu frowned when he saw the boy, obviously recognizing him. The white-robed boy came over and looked at Yang Xiaoshan. Boy, do you think it's easy to condense 10 sword hearts? Since the establishment of the Xianzang Academy, there has only been one person who has condensed 10 sword hearts. A boastful country boy like you probably doesn't even know what a sword heart is. Then he led a group of his men into the Xianzang Academy. Zuoqiu looked at the young man's leaving figure and said to Yang Xiaoshan, his name is Zuoqiang, and he is a sword genius of the younger generation of the Xiao family. Then he said to Yang Xiaoshan solemnly, don't look at his young age. He is only a few years older than you and me, but he has already condensed 3 sword hearts. I didn't expect him to come to Xianzang Academy. It seems that he is also here to sign up for study. Then he reminded Yang Xiaoshan in particular, if you meet him in the future, be extra careful and never fight with him. He is extremely powerful and is already a 9th level martial arts master. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.